What's down? What's down? Where everybody? It's your boy Mookie Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Right? We're back with another episode, ladies and gentlemen, of our UFC podcast, strictly on Rated R Sports, ladies and gentlemen. We wasn't live last Tuesday, right? But we back live tonight, man. We got to get back to some UFC news, some potential exciting fights, and we got to talk about what is going down strictly in the MMA community, ladies and gentlemen. I'm with my guy T. Y'all know him, co-host, man. My guy T's in here. T's in the building. And I'm with my new guy, man, Sandman. Sandman, what's up, man? You here?
How's it going? I'm here.
Yeah, salute, man. Salute, man. We're gonna get into this episode tonight. I want to talk about Ilia, man, Topuria, man. I want y'all to get y'all thoughts on him, man. He is shocking the MMA community by storm, man. This guy is a dangerous threat to the featherweights, ladies and gentlemen. And people were sitting there saying that, he called out Alex Volkanovski, and people was coming to the conclusion that Volkanovski just another level, a different level, a higher level than Ilia Topuria, man. Do y'all really, really think that, Topuria can actually stand with? Well, first, I want to talk about what y'all think about Ilia Topuria. I want y'all to get y'all. I'm gonna start with Sandman first, man.
Yeah, so I've been thankful to be following his career for a while now. I knew he was very, very good once he got into the UFC scene. His fight with Mitchell just really showed that there's really levels in the featherweight community. He trumped him in the grappling exchanges, trumped him definitely in the striking exchanges. He has another level of power, which he hits people pretty consistently with. The high volume of strikes mixed with like the relatively high power, especially for his weight class. We don't really see too many guys like that right now.
I agree. What you thought about his dominant performance against Josh Tillman, man? What you got on that, man?
Yeah, I thought the fight would be a little bit closer. I thought Ilia would have some danger, especially in the pocket, because we saw Yair get picked by Emmett a couple of times, get rocked a little bit. But it seems like his boxing defense has just greatly, greatly improved. Maybe it's because he's fighting a higher level striker, and that's kind of where it's being shown, where it didn't show with the Mitchell fight. But he was really using his shoulder to roll those punches. Really, the distance management was great. I loved his footwork in that fight. He was in and out, popping in with the jab, really showing that there's levels to,
getting inside,
community.
Slipping the jabs, which and the slipping just the overhand, just using the shoulder rolls. I love how his striking is too as well, right? Absolutely, I 100% agree with your assessment, right? I'm going my guy TT. What you got on Ilia, man, Topuria, man? What you got on him, man? What you think for him for overall assessment on his complete, overall martial artist, and talk to me what you think about him against Tim, because that was just a dominant performance. It wasn't even close.
He pretty much went the way first of all he showed up, and in terms of like how the fight went, it pretty much went exactly how I thought it would. Only difference is I thought Josh Emmett's best route to victory against Ilia would be the low kicks. I thought with with the way Ilia's stance and how heavy he's planted on his lead leg, with his boxing stance and with his boxing style as well, kind of low stance. He sits on his punches really well. He times his shots so well, his combinations really well in an MMA. Like, I haven't really seen an MMA fighter, be able to, time his combinations the way he does in an MMA fight. It was really like you said. His jab was on point. He could not miss with that. Every
He's a
time he used his
beautiful. I ain't gonna lie to you. He's a beautiful inside fighter. The way that he mix up his punches, go to the body, go
Yep.
up top, slip the
Yeah.
jab, slip overhands, use kicks as well. He's so calm, so precise with his striking as well, and he just moves, and he's pretty underrated grappler. Great
He's an elite
submissions.
grappler. He's
Yeah.
an elite grappler. He's an elite grappler. He's very high level black belt. He came into the UFC as a grappler.
Yeah.
He was not known as this boxer when he came into the UFC. He was known as a submission artist
Absolutely.
with high level grappling.
Yeah,
but I think for the nuances to the game, like people just pay attention to just his striking and his ability to actually get inside and just land his combinations, which is beautiful, which is precise, which is composed as well, right? And I think people just overlook what he can do on the ground. Like we've seen him submit guys as well. Like I just don't understand. Like this right here, this fighter right here, Ilia Topuria, man. Listen, he's dangerous. He's a threat, and the fact that like I've never seen outside of Yair Rodriguez, never see somebody just dominate Josh Tillman like that, man. The way that he just destroyed him limb by limb, right? And it's the thing about Josh Tillman, man. The man, it was just so predictable with his striking, man. All the man was doing was what all Ilya was doing was landing the jabs, wait for him to counter, and all he was doing just throwing overhands, no combination, no movement as well. Just no like I just, and then he's just when he throws the overhand, he leaves himself vulnerable to get hit. And the fact that they just didn't adjust to that, bro, he was susceptible of getting hurt. Not only he was getting hurt, getting picked apart, but Ilya was getting inside, landing the body. It just listen, bro, Josh Tillman, bro, I swear, bro. I mean, he ain't that.
To be fair, he is on the the decline. I don't know if he's on the decline, but he is on the old age. He's like 36, 37. And also, like in terms of his fighting style, he was never regarded as his most, as a skilled striker. He was more like boxer / wrestler, and his boxing is more so relied on his athleticism and his explosiveness.
That just kind of goes to show like how high of a fight IQ Ilia kind of has. He wasn't very, reckless. He didn't, underestimate Emmett at all. He didn't over-respect his power too much, which a lot of people have. Kattar went to a really, really close fight with Emmett beforehand, and Kattar was regarded, other than Max Holloway, to be one of the best boxers in the UFC. I didn't think Emmett won that fight. I thought it was really close. Really probably should have given it to Kattar, but it's just it just goes to show like how high level this guy is, because every fight that Ilia is making, he's making a statement. Because we see in that Jai Herbert fight, this guy Ilia started out, I think, as the Brave CF, I forget the fighting organization, as the bantamweight champion of that organization. And to see him go short notice in a lightweight fight,
and he got caught too. Like I believe in the first round, he lost that first round. Like bro, the dude caught him with a high kick. Bro.
He's talking about with the fight with
Herbert.
What's bro's name?
Herbert.
Fights out at Leon Edwards' camp. Yeah.
No, Jai Herbert knocked him down, flush head kick. It's good to see that he has a little bit of a chin, so he can,
recovering.
He can.
That was against a real lightweight as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. And just the reach advantage, I think, was around 8 inches, because Ilia has like a 69-inch reach or something like that. And instead of grappling in the second round, which Jai Herbert's takedown defense isn't all there, he's not up the upper echelon of lightweight anti-wrestlers, just goes in there and stands and bangs with him. Doesn't give a crap, confident in his own boxing technique, and really just puts a statement on. Same thing with Mitchell and his grappling. Arm triangles this guy who I don't think he's ever been subbed before in his career. I think that was his first UFC loss as well. Mitchell had a ton of hype around him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll make some great points about this guy, Ilia. Now, let's get into the spicy conversation. He called out Volkanovski. He wants some smoke with Volkanovski, ladies and gentlemen. He wants that crack at the championship. He said he go to Australia. He goes to anywhere. He wants a shot at that belt. The way he destroyed Josh Emmett, He wants to crack at that belt. So, are y'all quick to give this man a title shot? Just how dominant he looked, or y'all wanting to sit there and say, let him fight Max Holloway? Because Max Holloway, on the other hand, that could be an interesting fight because both fighters are like or elite pressure fighters that knows how to get inside as well and use combinations pretty well, bro. So, what do y'all want to do? What y'all want to do, man? Do y'all really want to get this man? If depending if Volkanovski beats Yair Rodriguez, do y'all want to see Ilia versus Volkanovski, or y'all want to see Ilia versus Max Holloway after Max Holloway beat Korean Zombie?
Oh, so he's beating Korean Zombie, is it?
What? Get out of here, T.
Oh no!
I'm about to say, bro, you tripping, bro. Thinking Korean Zombie Holloway, man.
Can we just deny the existence of that fight? I don't want to see that fight, man.
Yeah, that fight is just.
They doing Korean Zombie dirty, bro.
Yeah, they are, bro. I just think it's another one that he got to put on just to sell out a crowd, and
it's fighting out his contract, man. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. But
there's videos of Zombie doing some K-pop singing. Let him do that. Let him make some money.
Yeah. But man. Do y'all want to see? I want to see the Ilia versus Max Holloway fight, bro. I want to see a 5-rounder.
Man, we don't need that, man. Skip the line, bro.
As much
that him versus Volk.
As I think he deserves a title shot right now, it would be nice to kind of see him fight someone like an Ortega with that insane pace and cardio. Someone like a Max Holloway with that, similar boxing acumen, 5-round cardio. Because that's another thing the Emmett fight showed, because after the Mitchell fight, Ilia was like panting in the post-fight interview after 2 rounds. After he seemed more fresh after the Emmett fight after going 5 rounds. So as much as I think that giving him a title shot would be fair, it would be nice to see him be against these like pace and cardio monsters at the top end of the division.
I agree. And what's I'm trying to see what's the highest one, because I think the highest, I think it was Josh Emmett, right? That's the highest ranked fighter he beat, right?
Yes.
I think he beat two. I think he beat 2 fighters in the top 5. No, he beat 2. No, he beat 2 fighters in the top 10.
Oh, okay, yeah, top 10.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Mitchell was at the time. He could have.
I think Mitchell was like 9. I think Mitchell was like 9.
Yeah, Mitchell was at 9. He was at 9. Yeah, he was at 9.
Okay,
and he controlled that fight. I remember. Yeah. So he beat 2 fighters in the top 10. Yeah, bro. To me, I think because he is 14-0, I think the UFC could sell this how undefeated he is and how he's been dominating.
People want to see it.
People want to see him fight Volkanovski, but I think because I ain't gonna lie.
If you think about it, the timeline works out for them both, because Ilia just fought last weekend, and then we got Volk fighting not this weekend, but the next
Saturday.
Right?
Next Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, so the timeline works better for them both, and the style of that fight, man, like that fight, like if I agree, what's it called? Sandman made a good point about seeing him against the fighters who are more cardio based, guys, especially like a guy like Max Holloway, who's like one of the best cardios like ever. But me personally, I just feel like from a skill set perspective, he showed us enough to say that he can actually challenge the champion. And me personally, I have more interest, as unfair as this sounds, I have more interest in seeing a rising star like Ilia, who's 25, 26 years old, with his skill set and his dominance and his finishing ability, the threats that he has. I would like to see that new challenge for Volk than a 4th Max Holloway fight.
This is why I gotta disagree with you, T, is because when we see the history of the UFC, do you know how many times where we see Daniel White give guys title fights which they shouldn't get no title fights? It was too early. Look at what's that fighter name in the welterweight division? Darren Till, right? Darren Till, right?
Yeah.
Where Darren Till was running through everybody in the welterweights, and what he did, he put them up against Tyron Hill, and Tyron Woodley destroyed him. Right? I'm at this point where I understand that the hype he's getting. I understand how great he is as a fighter, as a complete fighter as well. But I'm under the impressions where I want to see him actually fight the guys that were actually competing for championships. Emmett Till was not competing for no championship at
Yes,
one point. Bro.
he was in talks for a championship. He literally
Yeah,
fought
but
for an
nobody
interim
look at
title.
no, but
He
nobody
literally
looked
fought
at.
for an interim title in his last fight.
You said what?
To be
His last fight
fair,
was an interim title fight.
yeah, his
Yeah,
last fight was
but
interim title fight. But
Oh,
to
yeah,
be
yeah,
fair,
yeah.
No,
All right.
I get that, but the premise of an interim title fight is for title contenders. They're not just giving out title.
Yeah, but
interim title fights for
hold on. But
anyone.
my point is,
That's my point.
my point is, I never once yes, Till was a tremendous fighter that had tremendous knockout power as well, powerful strikes as well, and that's how you be able to counter. That's how I was able to literally just catch his opponents, and opponents was literally feared going against Till. But I never looked at him as a serious contender that could actually win a championship. When Max Holloway was in his prime and he was dominating, so I just never looked at a guy that he could seriously compete with a guy like Max Holloway. Even when Volk came a championship, right? I never look at Emmett Till can literally seriously compete with Alex Volkanovski as well. So what I'm saying is that I want to see Topuria fight either Holloway or like when my man Sandman said, Brian Ortega, to showcase his pace, his ability to get inside, his striking as well. I want to see all that against legit contenders in that featherweight division, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't want to be in a pressure where I'm giving this guy Ilia Topuria a title fight, right? And next thing you know it, he gets destroyed by Alex Volkanovski, right? And that ruins this man's stock. You see what I'm saying?
I somewhat agree with that because I think
like that's what happened with Darren Till. When Darren Till was running through the welterweight division, right? And they lined him up with Tyron Woodley. What did Tyron Woodley did? He destroyed him. And that ruined Darren Till's stock forever, bro. Ruined the hype of him forever, man. So it is what it is, man. Salute to you. It was him.
And the good part about Ilia is he's still like 26 years old. He's so much room.
Young.
He's so much room to like improve. It's
But
good that
his age that's not a fault of his age. Like he's still top 5. And look, let's be honest. Like Ortega, I mean, let's be real. First of all, Ortega's injured, so I don't even know if the timeline works for them. Okay. So I don't even know if Ortega's even available to fight. And like
Ortega's
I said, Ilia
always
just fought.
Injured.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So he's injury prone, and I feel like with Ortega, he's a kind of guy like. This might be a wild thing to say. Maybe I'm just jumping the gun now, but I feel like we've seen the best of him at this point. Been in the UFC for how long has he been for now? Like almost a decade. Well, less than a decade.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. He's a top 4 rank.
Yeah, he's top 4. No. He's in there. But I'm saying what I'm trying to say to you is, we've seen the best of him, and the best of him is an elite submission jiu-jitsu practitioner. His striking, it's only gonna, it's good, and he'll look good against strikers who are not that skilled defensively. But in terms of being a champion, I mean, I don't know. Like if I look at that fight with him and Ilia, I think Ilia runs through him. He's the better striker, but more specifically boxing.
Ilia run through who?
Ortega.
Oh, okay.
Ortega, the grappling,
the
grappling. Even though you would probably favor Ortega with his submission grappling, but like I said, Ilia's grappling is so elite. I feel like he can hold his own in the grappling exchanges to the point where he would nullify Ortega's offense with his submission attacks and whatnot. So either way, in regards of where the fight takes place, I favor Ilia in the majority of I favor Ilia in that fight.
What about Holloway?
So basically, the point I'm trying to make is I feel like Ilia has done enough to show us that he hasn't got he hasn't racked up the number of wins. He hasn't got an 8-10 fight win streak. No, I get that, but I feel like with his performances and who he's beat, I feel like it's shown me enough to say, you know what, I'm not sure if he's going to be champion, but I feel like he can give the champion problems. I'll say right now.
You got a great point with that. The way that he dominated Emmett Till, was, I believe at the time, was a top 5 rank featherweight, bro. I mean, that puts him in that conversation. Like, all right, we want to see him fight Volk. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. Like, I don't know, bro. I just don't feel like the hype is there enough for me for the UFC to sit there and say, bro, for Volkanovski to sit there and say, you know what? I'm just gonna hold on for getting a rematch against Islam, and I'm gonna fight this guy, this young rising star in the featherweight division in Ilia Topuria. Like that, I don't understand that. I don't understand if that's enough to motivate Volk or dominate an Emmett Till. Like I can see if he dominate Max Holloway or Ortega or something like that, bro. Which Ortega had Volk in trouble because he almost submitted him as well, right? I can see if he dominate those fighters. I believe that would give him enough motivation on Volkanovski to come back and say, you know, I want to fight that rising star in the featherweight division. But since it's Emmett Till, like, be honest.
Sorry, you can go.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we should also look at Josh Emmett's kind of rise to like where he got, because he got the interim belt. You know, he had to compete for the interim belt somehow. And, you know, last fight with Kattar, I thought he lost that fight. He probably did not do. I don't know how, you know, I saw some people saying that Emmett won, but the resounding, you know, consensus is that Kattar won that fight. Even his fight before that against Dan Ige, very close fight, a little bit too close, you know, for comfort. So you got to look at like, is Josh Emmett, just skill wise, let's get out of, you know, Dana's head and forget about good matchmaking. Is Josh Emmett that like highly skilled to the point where he should be in the upper echelons of the featherweight division? Because
I would say, yeah.
You can go.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm done.
No. So no, I was just going to respond to what you're saying about is he that skilled? I would say just because win or lose, the wins and losses don't prove to me whether he's good or not. It's how he's looking in those fights. And like you said, those fights that he won, where me and you agreed that most of those decisions he actually lost, he was still, you know, he was still close enough to the fight where he convinced some people that he actually won. But whether it was the right decision or not, the fact that he was in the fight, you know, so close to the fact that you could make a case for him, that to me shows that he's up there. Whether you have him in the bottom 5 or the bottom 7, or you know, he's not a championship caliber fighter to you. The fact at the end of the day, he is in there with you know, in terms of contenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something about, I don't know, bro. For me, it's just something about Josh Emmett just don't impress me like that. Like I understand he fought for an title, bro, but I guess
he's an
Yair Rodriguez, but Yair, the fact that Yair just destroyed him like that, bro, just and like I said, bro, I believe he did lost to Calvin Kattar, and I 100% agree with Sandman on that. But the fact that Yair destroyed, and I understand Yair is an elite fighter, elite striker, underrated submission. I understand that he's that great, bro. But I'm saying is that I've just something about him and who he beat. It's not really moving the needle for me, bro. Like,
do you guys think that featherweight has maybe not that similar, but a little bit of a similar problem that middleweight has, where there's a little bit of a skill bridge that some fighters have to cross that's a little bit longer? Because you have, you know, you can go,
let's get the I'm definitely not to the extent of middle. I feel like middleweight is probably like significantly the worst division in the UFC. But if when you look
even worse than the UFC female featherweight.
Well, I'm just considering the males division.
He's talking about real divisions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Chill. Nah, to be fair, when you look at the featherweight division, like the top 15 alone, from a skill set perspective, like I like a lot of these guys. We still got Barboza, who, like, you know, he's not competing for the title, but you have to be elite to beat him.
Good
like
gatekeeper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like right now he's a gatekeeper. But like if like a guy that can beat Edson Barboza, to me, that's an elite fighter. Even today, Dan Ige, like you said, like he like you just said in Europe, like he had a close fight with the guy that was formerly top 5, that is, you know, top 6 right now, in Josh Emmett. You know, solid jiu-jitsu, you know, good boxing in you know, in certain ranges. Bryce Mitchell, elite grappler. That's pretty much it. Movsvar, I don't know how to say his surname. Evloev. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, he's top 10, and to me, he's a real like title contender that we need to be on the watch and to look out. The only thing that really held him back is like injuries and fight cancellations and whatnot. But to me, he's up there with the top 3, top 5 featherweights in my opinion. And then we got Giga Chikaze, who's gone missing ever since he lost to Calvin Kattar, but apparently he's rumored to come. He was an elite striker. Calvin Kattar is always there. And like you said, Ilia Topuria, Arnold Allen. Like, I know he lost to Max Holloway, but he was in there with Max Holloway. He hit him real bad. and he really and truly a couple of he was
He
was an
knocked
adjustment.
out Calvin Cater.
He was
Beat Dan Hook. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was an adjustment or two away from beating Max Holloway. If you really look at that fight,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got Yair Rodriguez, Max Holloway still there. Like the featherweight division is actually really stacked if you look at it. But that guy Volkanovski, man, he's
So let me ask you some. We're gonna talk about this more on Tuesday because that's where we're gonna be fight week. But I want to give a small preview on that fight, man. I don't want to get too in depth onto it because we got some other topics that we got to talk about. But what about that? I think Yair Rodriguez have all the tools on beating Volkanovski, right? And the reason why I sit there and say that, right, is because when you look at Volkanovski fights, particularly against Max Holloway, like Max Holloway is a great striker, right? But when I look at between fights 1, fights 2, and fights 3, right, I feel like in fight 1, Max Holloway was too aggressive in trying to fight his own fight his own fate, play his own pace, trying to get inside, trying to press forward. And Volkanovski was just a step too ahead of everything that Max Holloway was doing. And I think Volkanovski as a counter striker, that fight was pretty decent, pushing the face and moving away. So when Max Holloway was pressuring, Volkanovski was just losing his footwork, his movement, staying on the outside as well, getting inside, countering strikes, hitting Max Holloway with beautiful combinations with the jab and then the straight cross, and then he goes to up, downstairs to the body. And I basically sat there and said this. I said, bro, the adjustment that Max Holloway needs to do is basically turn into a counter striker, which he did in the second fight. I believe Max Holloway didn't fight his fight in the second fight and basically turned into a counter striker, bro. And when he did that, bro, he won rounds 1, rounds 2 off of catching Volkanovski. And to be fair, Volkanovski was not really setting up his punches, and he was just throwing one punch, and then Max Holloway was doing a great job in moving out the way and then countering his strikes as well with the uppercut, and then with the lead hook as well, which dropped. I don't think it dropped him, but dropped him with an uppercut as well. So when I'm looking at Yair Rodriguez, superior taekwondo petition. He's great on the outside. He has great footwork, great movement. He knows how to use his length. He knows how to sit on the jab. He's just the varieties of his strikes with the kick to the body, switch movement, and the inside kick, and the power leg kick, and the taekwondo kicks. I'm saying I've never seen nobody take away Volkanovski movement, and I think Yair Rodriguez, right, has the potential to use those kicks and those inside leg kicks to stop that movement for Volkanovski, because I feel like Volkanovski movement in his part of his combinations as well is his best attribute in his striking. And I believe that if Yair Rodriguez can actually utilize his leg kicks and stop that movement, right, and use his leaf, because I believe who have the reach advantage in that fight between Yair and Volk, because Yair has a let me see.
I believe it's Yair. Like,
Yair is 5'11", so he's Yair is way taller, and I believe he has a reach advantage because of fight. If you could use that jab as well and just get out the way and force Volk to run into traps and to counters as well, and then also stop the movement of Volkanovski, I think that will give him his best chance of winning that fight. I've just never seen nobody of all of Volk's opponents, never seen nobody utilize the leg kicks, bro. Never seen nobody just take away his movement.
They can't, bro. They can't because look.
What you mean they can't?
I'll tell you why. Look, with his stance, because his leg is kind of tilted sideways with his calf muscle and the wrong side of his hamstring showing. So the target is there, but his footwork is so well. He's not really putting himself in position to be caught with the leg kicks. That's what it is with him. He's not just managing distance. He's also like moving certain lateral movements, and it's in and out, but like he's circling in the right spots. It's really hard for fighters to consistently.
So you don't think Yair Rodriguez possessed the footwork, the movement as well to land those powerful calf kicks and inside leg kicks, to literally just hunt leg kicks as well and actually stop that movement?
I'm not gonna lie with Yair. I feel like for Volkanovski, I don't think Yair is strategic like that, where he can set traps and just build up low kicks. I feel like he's much more. He has a lot of awkward, unorthodox strikes, and he's very hard to read. And he throws a lot of strikes that that finishing that can finish
Yeah, but
Volk.
this the thing. Yair from each stance, from orthodox, southpaw, is constantly just giving you different looks. Like his kicks is so flashy, so fast. The 1-2s is always there after you switch stance to what southpaw. You got that 1-2, then the body kick, and then that inside leg kick. Then he switching, then got the heel hook, got the heel kick. So he's constantly just giving you different looks, and then on top of that, the pace that he's fighting in, bro. This like when people sitting there and say, "Oh, Volkanovski." When people sitting there saying this fight is just easily for Volkan, bro, this is a tough fight. To me, I think this is even a tougher fight than he's going to fight Topuria. I think this is even more of a tougher fighter against Yair Rodriguez because he just constantly giving different looks. On top of that, he know how to use his height pretty well. He has a good reach. The footwork is there. He fights at a great pace without tiring himself out, bro. And if he can utilize them leg kicks and stop Volkanovski movement, bro, that would be interesting for me, bro. And me watching Volkanovski, and I'm a big fan of Volkanovski, I have yet seen nobody did that. Holloway did it, like he did like some type of a like the John Jones oblique kick, and then sometimes he would do a cap, but he was just not doing it often. And I believe that I believe Max Holloway would have beat Volkanovski if he hadn't lost in the second fight. I'm talking about the second fight. If he hadn't lost that third round. The third round, he lost the third round. Do you believe Volkanovski beat Holloway in that second fight?
No, when I first watched it, I actually had Max winning. Yeah, but then when I looked at it back a couple times, but then I looked back at it like because obviously that fight was so close and it was like it was like it was really controversial at the time. So obviously I had to look it back like.
I watched that fight. I watched that fight like 2 days ago. And I agree, bro. Max Holloway won those first 2 rounds. I agree. But that third round was very close. But Volk landed more damaging strikes as well. Even though Max Holloway landed a lot of light strikes, Volk's strikes was more damaging. And he just did enough, bro. Damage beats output. Y'all know that as the UFC judged it. And then Volk won 4 and 5 to me as well. So I believe Volkanovski did enough to win that fight. In the second fight, which I believe that was the fight to me that in the Ortega fight when he was in that deep submission as well. Those 2 times where I would say, you know what, that man almost lost that belt. But to me, that Yair Rodriguez is an exciting fight, man. Hey, Sam, man, what's your quick? Go ahead.
Just to finish off with Yair, it's like he has those finishing threats. Like you always got to be aware. He's always one strike away from knocking you out. I agree. But from a skill set perspective, from a strategic perspective, from an IQ's perspective, I don't think he has anything to have Volk to be worried about. To let Volk be worried about. Like I said, the unorthodox strikes that you can't see coming. I see that, yeah. But these are just more like because if you watch his fight, like bro, he you know that zombie fight he had way back when, like he was getting his ass up for the majority of the fight. But then the last 2 seconds of the third round, he just landed that crazy ass elbow. Like that fight is basically to me a summary of Yair Rodriguez at the top.
Well, we also have to talk about how Yair has also gotten better. That guy is like, what is he? He's walking himself in like Aztec temples in training now. I was watching like a UFC embedded thing. He's putting himself in like Aztec temples and training, and he's taking it very seriously, which is nice. Yeah. But yeah, going back to you talking about the leg kick threat, how Volk's movement can get shut down by leg kicks. Volk is very fast. He doesn't really need to check leg kicks a lot of the time. He just shifts back. He's very smart with his distance. Someone like Yair could, with his very long leg reach. I think the arm reach, I just looked it up, is exactly the same. They're both 71 inches in their wingspan. Which is just goes to show how.
But Yair has the advantage because of the leg reach. Yeah,
the leg reach, is much longer. But you also have to realize a lot of times when these guys are going for leg kicks, especially in the later rounds, when they're getting annoyed about missing Volk's leg completely, not even needing to check it, is that they sometimes drop their hands and their technique can get a little bit sloppy. And Volk's footwork almost looks like, Vasily Lomachenko in the octagon. He's just like moving, gliding around, 1-2 shift combo, bam, he's out of there. It's a little bit risky to just say, okay, you should just chop Volk's legs and hinder his movement, when it's really hard to do that kind of in the first place. Max Holloway is a fighter where you can do that, and Yair, and I'm pretty sure Volk also kind of did that. Beat up his leg early on so you don't have to make any mistakes later. And you saw, especially in the Yair fight with Holloway, that was a close fight. That was a 48-47, fight. Yair was winning like the last part of it, and Max screwed his leg up completely. And that's when Yair had more success. With Yair beating Volk, I think this is the fight where Volk could, if Volk were to get finished, this would be the fight. I could see maybe just a knee down the middle, tagging Volk once and just dropping him, because you saw how Islam's shots were affecting him. The stand-up was a little bit scary at times. Volk obviously had the advantage, but he was getting hurt by some of these strikes. And you talking about the leg reach, I think just one knee down the middle, same type of way that, Volk got caught by a Holloway uppercut, could potentially happen. The kick to the body, if Volk starts to shell up a little bit too much. His guard, he likes to change up his guard a little bit. It's not always like super high up like Petr Yan's, where he's just open for the body kick all the time. Yair does have, if Volk doesn't find Yair's distance early on, he could have some trouble with it. I do think Volk in the pocket is much better than Yair. We saw Yair get tagged by Josh Emmett a couple of times, get rocked in that fight. Despite how good he looked in that fight, he got caught a couple of times. And if Volk's doing that consistently and annoying him,
and we haven't seen Volkanovski get caught. Because I've seen Volkanovski literally get caught when he fought against Max Holloway.
Yeah,
when Max Holloway was just moving out the way, moving his distance and setting up counters, which Volkanovski is susceptible getting hit when he's blitzing in, trying to get inside as well. Max Holloway in that second fight was moving out the way and landing his counters as well. Mm-hmm. So and on top of it, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, but is that a fair comparison, saying that as if Yair is as efficient and consistent as Max in terms of accurate?
You talking about terms of striking?
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Like when that's the thing when. Yeah. But that's the thing when Yair is evading the distance and trying to get out of boxing range. What is that leading towards? That's leading towards a jab, a high kick to the body, inside leg kick, switching stance to a southpaw, heel kicks as well. Just showing the needs. He just the versatility in his striking is something that you always have to be aware of. And it just coming from all angles. It comes from all angles, and he does a great job in just fighting the distance. Mm-hmm. So, like I said there and said, is that like, yes, every fighter get caught, and I'm not. Every fighters are like fighters we have in the UFC are not like they're not perfect strikers where he just never got caught or never got hit before. Everybody gets hit. But the thing is as well, like Volkanovski, I've seen where Max Holloway was literally just backing up in the second fight, just literally just getting out the way, being patient, not like in the first fight. You compare the first fight and the second fight, the way that Max Holloway approached that second fight was beautiful. Because after I watch the first fight, I'm like, if I'm Max Holloway, I'm being more patient. I'm backing up, not being in range of the boxing range, especially when Volkanovski is landing the inside leg kicks. Then he's landing jabs, 1-2, trying to get in. So what I'm doing is I'm evading those strikes. I'm ducking out the way, getting out of reach, and then I'm setting up my own counters. And that's when he was landing a lead hook and then an uppercut as well, which connected to Volkanovski as well. And then when Volkanovski tried to get in, caught him clean, just slipping out the way, vulnerable for strikes. So Volkanovski can get hit, and I think Yair has the footwork to get out the way in boxing range as well. And then he's so more susceptible in with the variety of kicks as well, the variety of jabs, just switching stance, just giving different looks as well, right? Which he has to worry about going. He's got to worry about where Alex Poel is going, down low or up top. So.
Yeah. Do you guys think that, with all the work that Craig Jones has done with Volkanovski, do you think we're going to see some grappling in this fight potentially? Because Yair's grappling defense has always been a little bit of a question mark.
I could see a point where where Volk is like when Yair is like starting to build up some momentum because like we were all saying, we can all agree that Yair's biggest advantage and key to winning the fight is his unpredictability, and I feel like the way I could see where Volk would where he would engage in grappling and he would start it off. I could see maybe it was when he feels like Yair is building up some momentum. So whenever Yair is getting into a groove or building some momentum, I feel like that's when Alex will probably try to grapple with him. Then in certain positions, though, I don't think he'll just freely grapple in the end. I think Yair is quite dangerous with his submissions. He's quite sneaky with them in certain
very
positions.
sneaky.
So it's like in that sense, I would probably say yeah, but I wouldn't say to look for the submission. I would say it's more so to just disrupt Yair's flow and not to let him get going. That's what I think.
T, how you feel about Volk wrestling?
Volk's got some. His wrestling is solid. I feel like is elite when it looks elite because he mixes up his MMA really well. I wouldn't call him. I wouldn't label him as a wrestler if that's what you're asking. No, but
would you label him as elite grappler?
Yes. When you nullify a grappler like Islam.
See, I ain't gonna lie, bro. When you call somebody elite grappler, I be just take it with a grain of salt because you said Connor's elite grappler. I don't look at Connor as elite grappler. So you got different definition of
underrated.
It's when I say because when you're talking about elite grapplers, you guys might be talking about in the cage, looking to win with their grappling. Like if we're being honest, like an Ilia Topuria, people don't know he's an elite grappler until he uses it in an MMA fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like do you see what I'm saying? But even though he's got a black belt, no one will call him an elite grappler unless he uses it in the cage. Me, I don't do that. If I can see you utilize elite grappling, even if it's in grappling competitions, even in sparring, I really don't care because if you're an elite grappler, you're an elite grappler. But because he's a brown belt, and a brown belt is the closest rank to a black belt. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I just watched. I don't know. I just watched
because you're basing it off him getting out grappled by better grapplers, like one of them being Habib, who's the greatest grappler of all time. Like if you're gonna say he's not Connor.
No. I don't think Connor's.
I'm just giving you an example of saying like you're.
No, because I've seen him get out grappled by Max Holloway as well, and Nate. I mean, not Max Holloway, but sorry, Chad Mendes. Chad Mendes out grappled him as well. Seen him get literally tortured on the ground by Chad Mendes as well. So it's not because it could be. Would you all say that Islam? I mean, or not Islam, but Khabib Nurmagomedov is way levels ahead of a grappler as Chad Mendes, right?
Yeah, but Chad is an elite wrestler, MMA wrestler.
Yeah, he's an elite wrestler. I will give you that, but he literally got out grappled. And then it's not a lot of situations where I've seen Conor McGregor where he had to use his grappling ability, bro. Like it's more of more defensive. It's more defensive with his grappling.
Exactly, and grappling is defense. So if I can see you, like I said, I think Volkanovski is an elite grappler.
Yeah, but can you get name me the situations where you seen Conor McGregor, because all this to me. For most of the situations that I've seen Conor McGregor use, have to be like uses grappling as well. He got out grappled when he got out grappled by Chapman. He's got out grappled by Islam Makhachev as well. He didn't really use his grappling against Jose Aldo because that was 13 seconds. He didn't use it against Dan Silver. He didn't use it against Nate Diaz. And then when at times where they was in the clinch, Nate Diaz did take him down as well. And then he gave up his back and got submitted. And then when in times where there was in the clinch,
that was more to conditioning, but that was more due to more. That was more.
You could say that, but it's just I just really haven't seen Conor just full out just use his. Okay, it gets Dustin, but nobody will look at Dustin as this elite level grappler. I mean,
why not?
I've seen him use.
He's a black belt. He's a black belt. Why not?
Oh.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, this is what I'm saying because I don't need because I don't just take in the grappling in the fight because a lot of things can happen in a fight where you won't even have to use your grappling or your striking.
That's true.
Yeah, I think with the amount of like very high level grapplers that we do see. We kind of associate high level grappling with like Charles
Elite.
Oliveira just like crawling.
Yeah,
And he's not on
when,
the. He's not, and I'm not.
yeah,
saying
that's
that he's
what,
on
but
the
that's
level.
what I mean. T when I mean like when you say elite, I mean where I'm thinking you talking about Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira, Benil Dariush. You know what I'm saying? Damian
But I think
Myers.
it's
You know,
also healthy if we look at it because high level grappling, a lot of it is what we don't see as well. You look at like Robert Whitaker and Jose Aldo, some of the best anti grapplers in UFC history, just not being taken down, nullifying a lot of the wrestling.
that's true.
Same thing with Volk. We see him every time he goes to the ground and does not get subbed by a world champion sambo, like a sambo world champion. That's high levels of grappling. It's a lot of what we don't see as well. It's a lot of the defense.
Yeah,
exactly. And
so would you say, hold on the Sandman? Would you say Conor is an elite grappler?
I would, but we also have to acknowledge that Khabib is the 0.1% of grapplers as well. Because I'm pretty sure going back to the Conor McGregor and Khabib fight, the first takedown that Khabib got, Conor nullified it to some extent, was good at scrambling. And, Conor does have underrated jiu-jitsu. But the fact that Khabib is just that much more elite, that much more of a phenomenon, that's why it's going to look like Conor's just, a baby.
Can you explain Chad Mendes, how Chad Mendes was just on top control for damn near 5 or 6 minutes of the fight, most of half of that fight, until Conor McGregor scrambled up because Chad Mendes did a dumbass, I don't know what he was trying to do, trying to go for a guillotine, which Conor McGregor reversed the position and then explain that to me. Because I don't see no elite in his grappling. Like to be honest, like I look at elite as a high level grapplers. Conor McGregor is good, he's underrated. But I just don't put them in that elite category. When I put guys in elite categories, the guys that I just named. And that's why I said when Conor McGregor did use his grappling, it was good, but it was just not elite for me in my standard. You see what I'm saying?
To give Conor credit, he did make a lot of improvements going up to lightweight. He did.
I know that you're basing it off a fight of 2015 as well. That's crazy. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying like that's the only. Okay. Outside of that fight,
that's fair.
That's what I seen where Conor McGregor was being put in that deep. Yeah. So I mean, shout out to Conor, man. Yeah, I just hold like it's a difference between good grapplers and elite grapplers. That's why I just think. Now, what you think about Kevin Lee grappling? Do y'all know who Kevin Lee is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he sees a lot of holes in everyone's game, man. Shout out to him.
Good.
Hey, I know he fight this week, bro.
Yeah,
I know Kevin Lee fight this week.
Yeah, I don't know. He's like some Russian dude as well, right?
Yeah, he's fighting Renat Fakretinov. He's coming onto the scene. Dominated Brian Battle. It could be an interesting fight. We saw Kevin Lee make Diego Sanchez look like a good fighter. Eagle FC. So depending on how motivated he is for this fight,
you know what's so crazy? Man, it's something about Kevin Lee for me. Just I have so much like I don't know, like it's something about him where I'm just so interested. Like I want to see him win. You know what I'm saying? Like when he fought Tony Ferguson as well, and y'all know what he was battling with the injuries. I forget, like he had something in his chest or something like that. I don't know what it was. He had I don't know what it was, but he lost to Tony Ferguson as well. Then he's the first to knock out what's that fighter name? Damn. Do y'all remember that fighter that he knocked out with the lead head kick?
Gregor
Gillespie. I haven't seen Gregor Gillespie ever since he got knocked out for that. And then, like, if you rate Kevin Lee's skills, I mean, where would you rate his grappling?
I think he's somewhat the same, type of case as Kelvin Gastelum. Like, just a lot of talent, very, very talented person.
He just got a lot of potential, bro. He just got
zero. I shouldn't say zero work ethic.
He's so frustrating.
It's just really hard to
see. Why you shake your head about Kevin Lee? Like do you think he's really mid or something?
No, it's actually the opposite. He was like, if you remember back in 2017 when he was competing against Tony for the interim title, like he was championship caliber in my opinion.
He was the fucking
he had a lot of skills.
Fact.
Yeah, like he was really good, man. Yeah, but the guy was just so arrogant, bro. It's crazy.
Look what he did against Michael Chiesa, right? Where he talked, bro. That's why I first saw it. When we yeah, man. Oh man. He's so arrogant. He talks shit, bro. That's why I like about him, bro. Because he reminds me of one of my homeboys, man, that I grew up with that just love to talk shit, but then end up getting beat, and then end up beating somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just for me, Kevin Lee, he has so much potential, bro. And I'm like, bro, this guy should have been champion, bro. When I look at him, bro, and that's why I'm so big on Kevin Lee, or so high on him, and that's why I'm a somewhat of a just wanted to see him win. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that the UFC brought him back, because you know what I'm saying, the situation that he was going through, you know what I'm saying, with finding his religion, going through some other stuff, right, that I'm not going to talk about. I'm glad that he found that, you know. But when we assess him, I think, to me, Kevin Lee, when you assess his game, I think Kevin Lee was a great grappler. You know what I'm saying? Great wrestler. He had that high kick that he had, that 1-2 high kick. That was his combination as well. You land the jab, then the 1-2, and then the high kick as well. Striking is purely dog shit. I mean, it's not dog shit, but it's good. This is mid, you know what I'm saying? But it's glad to see. Yeah. So, you know,
not to get like too into depth of like his personal stuff. It was really like you could tell that it's kind of like what's happening outside of the cage. A lot of combination of like different, you know, bad things that are probably happening to him. He got released because of like ADHD medication found in his system, right? Something like that. I don't remember reading, but I think that was like what was happening. And you know, the weight cuts were getting bad for him. Went up to
because he was like flexing to 155, did 170, and after he fighting 170, he go to 155, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you putting your body into all the stress. But if you look at his athleticism, bro, what do you know of a guy that's 5'9" that got a 77-inch reach, bro?
No, it's high level. He's very.
It's crazy, bro. And I'm just like, bro, that guy with being 5'9" with a 77-inch reach, I'm like, bro, you gotta improve in your boxing, bro. And that's where I want to see in Kevin Lee, because I like his grappling. When he had Tony Ferguson in the first round, he had him in trouble when he took him down and was just grounding, pounding him, and just had him in trouble, bro, until that round ended as well. That's when he started being gassed, because I believe he had an illness that he was fighting. I forgot what it was, the illness as well. But you know, I'm excited to see Kevin Lee fight this week. I'm gonna watch that fight. But we got to switch it up, because we've been on this Yair, what's the name, on topic so long. I want to talk about y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I want to talk about what we gonna talk about. I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about John Jones.
Oh yeah.
Francis Ngannou, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
My goodness, bro.
We were supposed to talk about this last week, but my guy T had something going on, man. John Jones and Francis Ngannou, man, a counter at the PFL event, man. Bro, when I seen them going at each other, bro, facing off, bro, I'm like, what it could have been. What it could have been. We could have had the most exciting heavyweight fight of all time in the UFC, and in combat sports.
Combat.
In combat sports.
Oh, actually, not combat sports. Yeah, we were talking about Muhammad Ali and.
No, it's one of them. It's up there, bro.
You have to put
John Jones, Francis Ngannou.
Wow.
We could have seen it, bro. My whole assessment on them counting each other. I'm like, bro, what's all of this for, bro? Like what?
Yeah.
Like what is all of this for, bro? They in different promotions. He's in the PFL. John Jones is in the UFC. What is this all for, bro? Like, because we're not going to see the fight, man. We're not going to see it unless if somehow the UFC and PFL can do a crossover fight between those two. But I highly doubt it. So I'm like, what is this for?
See, it would never happen. But it's not like it can't. The PFL
that's what I'm saying.
To do it.
That's what I'm saying.
The UFC are not willing to co-promote.
Yeah, they're not willing to do that. They're not willing to do that. But my guy Sandman, he said Francis Ngannou would have smoked. He would have smoked John Jones, man. I want to hear your take on this, man.
Yeah, like I guess it kind of sucks talking about this after the Cyril Gane fight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to make any like absolute statements. I don't know if it was just because Cyril just has terrible grappling or John has elite grappling. All I'm going to say is I'm pretty sure this was his first takedown that he's gotten in the first round of a fight ever since the first Cormier fight, which, is I don't know how John did as well as he did. If you look at his fight camp, it's made up with a bunch of like unranked UFC heavyweights, not high level guys at all. I don't know what Cyril said that he was like nervous, couldn't deal with, the starstruck and stuff, but like it was disappointing to watch. Good on John.
So you ain't impressed with that win. That's what you telling me. You ain't impressed with that win, bro.
I'm not the most impressed.
I knew you. Me too, bro. I try to tell T. I try to tell this T too, bro. I was so excited watching that fight, bro. I'm starting up the stream because I got my popcorn ready.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, what is this? What is this?
It's the Mike Tyson effect, man. You get, you save up for a UFC event. You plan your entire night for that main event, and then the goat gets it done in less than how many minutes? I'd be pissed too.
But all serious, no, like that fight to me just didn't answer the questions that I had for John Jones. Right? It was just Cyril Gane, and I agree with you saying, man. And what you're saying is a fact. Cyril Gane was coming up with I didn't train for the fight, I didn't properly execute for the fight, I barely sparred, and you know what I'm saying, and then when we look at when we go look at the fight, then we go look at I go look at the replay. I'm like, bro, the openness is there. The man was just not capitalizing on the openness, bro. He was, bro. The openness was there for you.
What openings? What openings?
The openness that I think John Jones landed a straight cross that was so susceptible of getting hit with an uppercut or a knee that he would have threw, that Cyril Gane would have threw as well. The strikes, the openness was there for John Jones. Yeah. The opening was there for Cyril Gane, bro.
You cannot land an uppercut when someone throws a straight. That makes that doesn't.
No, he threw no. He threw a straight and he ducked.
Who?
When you
Jones ducked.
Yes, Jones threw it straight and he ducked.
Yeah,
bro.
and level chain. Yeah, he level chained.
No, he didn't level chain. He threw a straight and then he ducked, and then that's when he started moving out the way. That's when he tried to move out the way. I'm just like, the openers are there. It was a lot of openers that I've seen if Cyril Gane would have just put his feet on the goddamn gas, it's not showing him so many goddamn respect for a guy that ain't fighting over the last 3 years.
Just a quick question for T. How much better do you think John got from the Reyes fight to the Cyril fight? Do you think he improved his game?
Great question.
Do I think he improved his grappling?
And just any part of his game.
I don't think Jones needs to improve anything.
Okay, well, one of the most glaring problems that I see about John Jones is striking in general. His defense has never really been there. He would post up. He has like a 12-inch reach advantage over all these other light heavyweights. Now that he's in heavyweight, he's fighting someone with, a somewhat similar reach. I think he's going to get hit a lot more. I thought maybe just bigger guys hitting him would have been a problem just in general. He has a pretty, granite chin as it is. He's been hit by like insane just flush strikes from, if I remember, Machida got him badly at one point in the first round of their fight. Cormier for a little bit was, giving him some trouble in both of their fights. I just don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know how bad Stipe has gotten.
Hey, hold on, before you go, bro. My bad.
Stipe's cooked. Stipe's cooked.
I somewhat agree.
Hey, hold on. Yes. I want y'all to look at this strike right here. I want y'all to look at this. You see how John Jones is so exposed right here, bro?
My bro, look at the time.
Do you see how exposed? 4
seconds in the first round, bro.
And 4 seconds in the fight, he's already exposed, bro. You see how he got his chin over there to the side like that, bro? I'm just like,
Mook, have you not heard of a feeling out process in a fight?
Look at this.
It's 4 seconds in, and plus, anyway, regardless, he kicked him in the nuts as well. Like, this is insane.
Do a jab. Cyril just look.
He's cutting him off. He's cutting him off. Look,
he just so much respect for his striking.
No. Why are you acting like Cyril never fights off the back foot? This is nothing new. I'm not seeing anything new from Cyril. This is nothing that's alarming. I'm seeing. Oh,
Look at
Cyril
that.
looks
Openings
bad.
right there. Openings right there. He overreached with it with the inside leg key that Jones did. That's the openings right there. Look at this. Let me show you. Look at that. Openings right there.
What's he gonna? He moved out the way. Okay,
He
look,
moved out the way, but there's an openness. If he was
Yeah, look.
if he was on the attack right there, laying a jab or two, bro, that's another strike
No,
there. That's
no.
more
Listen, hear me out,
susceptible of getting hit.
look. Okay, look, hear me out. Keep that there. Keep that there. When he threw the leg kick, he moved out the way. If he did not move, see where he pulled his leg back in that position.
Okay.
That Cyril's in. Wait. In that position, he can't do nothing. Now, let's say he chose not to do that. And he chose to just close the distance. He would not. He would have walked into a low kick that would have made him lose his balance, and then he would eventually either miss the strike.
Yeah, but I'm talking.
It would have grazed Jones.
Hold on,
I'm talking
about the point that Jones. He evaded the leg kick, which is great. But I'm saying after you evade the leg kick, that's when you're supposed to go and attack because John Jones is not set enough. Look at it. He just stand there. He just allowed John Jones to get.
No. Look.
Look what he just did. Look, he overextended with the leg kick. He ducked out the way because that was great for Sirigan. He got out the way, got out of distance. But if you're Sirigan, you got your feet set. You're there on the attack. Look how open he is.
As soon as he set his feet, as soon as Cyril set his feet after.
But why? Hold on. But why is Sirigan is waiting for his feet to get set? Those are openness there.
What do you mean? No. Because because it's dangerous. Because any elite striker would know. Going on the attack when your feet are not set, you're kind of leaving yourself open as well. So
you saying?
Cyril,
hold on. Who are you saying? Hold on. Who are you saying that feet wasn't set?
I'm on about Cyril. Because I'm saying
Cyril's feet was set.
Yes, and then but when by the time he set his feet, Jones had already got up. He already exited the range, the boxing range. Look, no. Rewind that lot again.
Hold on, let me ask you something. Is his feet set right now? Sandman, is his feet set right now?
I think if there is a heavyweight who's fast enough to capitalize on this, it would be Cyril.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
6'4".
That's what I'm saying. Why? Hold on. That's what I'm saying. Why he didn't capitalize on that opening right there?
I think this early in the round, they're just both making reads to some extent. I think Cyril's just making
reads, bro. Stop it, bro. You talking about reads?
What do you mean,
bro? The openings is there. If Cyril, that's why my point is my point. But my point. What that's supposed to mean? What you think Conor McGregor was making? Hold on. Conor McGregor is your favorite fighter. You think Conor McGregor was making reads against Jose Aldo, bro?
Conor was my favorite fighter since when?
No, he is your favorite fighter. Stop lying, bro. But you think hold on. You think Conor McGregor? You think Conor McGregor waits to what later in the round to make reads, bro? He capitalized the opportunities right there.
That is so disingenuous. If you say, "Oh, okay, Conor McGregor, only one of the fastest starters in the UFC."
Look at that. Look at this nigga. This man waiting. This man John Jose got. He ain't got his guard up. He ain't. Bro, the open is there. You think? Hold on. Let me ask you something. This is a good point. Do you think Dominic Reyes, ladies and gentlemen, was waiting to the openness was there? No, Dominic Reyes was in attack. Dominic Reyes was not allowing Dominic Reyes was not allowing. Hold on. Dominic Reyes was not allowing John Jones to get set like this. No, he was pushing the pace. He was getting cold.
What's your point? I don't get your point.
My point of the matter is this: is that the openings that was there, Sirigan just didn't capitalize on it like a Dominic Reyes. He was not being aggressive. And to be fair,
that's not an opening. That's not an opening.
I want to ask.
That is not an. I'm sorry.
I want to ask you a question quickly.
Oh, God.
Cool. Okay, let's say that Stipe comes back to the UFC. Hasn't aged a bit. He showed up like how he did in the second or third Cormier fight. Mm-hmm. Watching Dominic Reyes and John Jones fight, does it not make you a little bit concerned on what Stipe could kind of do with that extra power, with that extra reach advantage? Because if Dominic Reyes is landing rear end uppercuts at will with no setup on Jones, do you think that's a little bit of, something that Jones could worry about, maybe fighting a Pavlovich, maybe fighting a Stipe if he hasn't aged?
Well, first of all, I think Pavlovich is far more dangerous at this point in time.
I agree.
Secondly, to say, I don't think it's accurate to compare Dominic of 2020 at least to Stipe of the times you were comparing him to just because of, first of all, athleticism alone in terms of speed, quickness, lateral movements. mobility. First of all, they're both opposite stances as well. So, Stipe being a traditional orthodox boxer, he hits harder than Dominic, but is he as fast? I don't think so. Is
I
he?
wouldn't think so either. No.
Yeah,
What
and
about
like you said, and what you said, what helped Dominic Reyes to be in that fight so much isn't what obviously it was his boxing, but I'm saying like what helped him land his shot so much is the pace he put on in the early rounds and the speed he was fighting at. I don't think Stipe can produce that level of that can fight
yeah,
at that
but
pace.
Steve,
In
but to
my
be
opinion.
fair, I think Stipe is more of a threat in boxing range, more prevalent than Dominic Reyes. He hit harder than Dominic Reyes.
Prime
His
Stipe, yes. Prime Stipe, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
I was saying, like,
even
let's say it's
even if you
prime
want to
Stipe.
eat, hold on. Even if you want to sit there and say Stipe is not in his prime, him in boxing range in threat, he still have an ability to knock out anybody, bro. His combinations, his in and out footwork, his ability to get inside the lane, inside leg kicks is what, like even the kicking range. Like I think Stipe has a very, very underrated low kick on him, bro. Inside leg kicks and then the calf kicks that he get the ability to set up. The 1-2s is always there. So like inside a boxing range is more of a threat than what Dominic Reyes. Now I agree, like the output that Dominic Reyes was bringing it to with the speed and his pace. Just landing so much just strikes, just pressing John Jones to the fence. I don't think Stipe can duplicate that, but I do think that is more and more of a threat if Stipe can get inside. And like I said, John Jones head moving, like he gets hit, bro. He gets hit, and that's what Sandman was basically talking about by this defensive head movement as well. He gets hit as well. So but go ahead, Sam, man.
If John's like defensive instincts of just posting up and using his reach as an advantage kick in during a Stipe fight, how much is speed really going to matter at that point for Stipe if he can just find, because his boxing in the heavyweight division before Cyril gone, I think he was one of the most technical people other than Volkov. He finds these weird angles like Reyes to get around John's long reach. I don't know if he does that and if he can only do that once, is that going to be like, John getting knocked out? If he just makes one mistake one time with Stipe. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's interesting though. It's interesting.
Let me ask you something. Sandman, do you think Stipe want to capitalize on the openings that John Jones possessed in that Cyril Gane fight? Do you think Stipe will be ability to capitalize on more openings better than Cyril Gane?
Well, I think Stipe has fought more technical strikers than John Jones. Like JDS, regardless of JDS not reaching the heights of John Jones, is a more technical striker. I think he could. Will John's chin hold up? I'm not sure. I'm not going to say that Stipe just beats John based on the Reyes fight. Stipe, even if he was in prime form, we're not like super sure how that's going to play out. I think a lot of people are just counting Stipe out and not acknowledging that John can be in some very serious danger in that fight if Stipe shows up and takes off his fucking fireman uniform and actually starts fighting.
Yeah, but T don't like Stipe. I mean, he disrespects Stipe.
I love Stipe.
So no, you don't. No, you don't.
No, you don't. Stipe is the GOAT for some reason. I don't know.
No, I don't. I think he's the heavyweight GOAT. Hold on. I get criticism. People sit there and say, "You crazy for putting Stipe in my top 5 of all time." I think you said what?
Well, that's insane. From other people to criticize you because people put Fedor on the top of GOAT mountain sometimes because it's just so hard for any heavyweight to have a title defense or any long.
Thank you. You understand the degree of difficulty. The fact that we have never seen anybody. And we have seen some greatest heavyweight fighters in our history of watching UFC. The fact we haven't seen nobody defend the belt the way that Stipe did it, and you look at how the UFC line them up, some of the best fighters that we have ever seen. He's competed in the best heavyweight division competition that in the UFC and UFC history as well. And the fact that we have seen Stipe beat the likes of Prime Fabricio Perdue, he's beaten JDS. He's ragdolled Francis Ngannou, bro. We talking about Francis Ngannou, who was highly, extremely confident, and he was at his peak right now. We have seen No, not his feet. Not his feet. I'm capping on that.
See, this is what I'm saying.
I'm capping on that one. I'm capping on that one. We see him beat. What else? We see him beat. I already said JDS. We seen him beat. Stipe Miocic twice. I mean, not Stipe Miocic, but Daniel Cormier twice. In that second round, the adjustments that he made, just going to the body uppercuts, which led to everything opening the top, was a great adjustment that Stipe was doing, bro. And then look what you were able to do in the third fight. Yes, you could say Cormier was out of his prime and anything, but just look at the degree of difficulty he was able to do. Oh, and then he beat Alistair Overeem as well. And we talking about Alistair Overeem, who was actually looking pretty good, fight for a title as well, right? What he was able to do in his hometown of Cleveland.
And going back to
he in the prime. I'm not saying prime Alistair, but I'm saying like Alistair Overeem before he fought Stipe was putting up some impressive wins as well, knocking out plenty of heavyweight fighters during that time as well.
No, Overeem was elite back then.
Yeah. How the heavyweight division back then?
Huh?
The names you mentioned, almost I'd say almost all of them. I'd say only like one or two that was not what was in their prime, if even that. The majority of those guys you mentioned that he beat were not in their prime.
But they were still good fighters, though.
To what extent? Not top.
I mean, we could talk about the fighters that John Jones beat, in his come up, how they weren't in his prime. They weren't in their prime either.
Let's talk about it.
Well, do you think Lyoto? Do you think even someone like Shogun was in his prime with all the damage that he took in Pride, all the extensive career he had beforehand? Do you think that Shogun was in his prime when he was the light heavyweight champion?
You could tax him off that for saying that Shogun was washed because of all the damage he took previously, but then I would say like at the end of the day, Jones was younger than me at that time. Bro was 22 years old or 21. Like,
nah, he fucked Shogun up easy, bro. It wasn't even a contest. So
but
he was in his prime.
But even then, okay, let's even give you that. Okay, cool. He wasn't at his. He was worn down from the wars in Pride. Cool. Rampage. That was not the case.
I don't know.
Rampage. I'll go through it chronologically. So from
for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So we just went through Shogun. Cool. Rampage Jackson constantly saying till this day, even now, he's saying that was the most prepared he ever was in any fight in his entire career. And then how did he look there? Sugar Rashad Evans was the closest as he was to it. I don't even know if I'm saying this right, but he definitely wasn't washed. What?
Was Vitor Belfort in his prime?
Vitor
Belfort? Yeah, he was.
Bro, he was juiced. What are you talking? That was TRT Vitor. That was his second prime. He had two primes. Bro had two primes. So yes, Lyoto Machida, same thing. I think he was on the TRT as well, but he wasn't washed either. And
he wasn't washed. I shouldn't say that about Lyoto. I think I just meant kind of out of his prime. He's a pretty long career.
I'm saying to me, would you like? Cause some people won't sit there like y'all sitting there and telling me that the fighters that John Jones beat was most of them was in his prime. So you say Lyoto Machida was in his prime?
I'd have to look back to see what his prime was, but I can definitely say that he was definitely not washed. So that I can say. If you want me to tell you when was his exact prime, what years were he at his best, I'll have to look back. But
that's why I don't really measure like yes, it matters. Like I think being in your prime at your peak or your absolute best. Like we can tell that fighters are washed and they're not nowhere near the same. But to sit there and say like, oh well, I'm gonna take away what Stipe did against Alistair Overeem because Alistair Overeem was in his prime. Alistair Overeem, when we seen Alistair Overeem when he had this quest of fighting for a championship against Stipe, bro, he was beating the top fighters in that division, bro. He was the top 10 fighters in that division. Not only he was doing it, but he was knocking out cold.
The division was lame.
Okay, well, you can say it was lame, but I'm just saying that he was knocking out everybody. That's why I'm saying like,
who was he knocking out though? That's one point. The competition, like, what was the like you say he was knocking guys out? Who was he knocking out? That's my point. And I'm not saying I want to make this clear because I don't want anyone to get carried away. I get like while we're talking about Stipe, and I'm giving him some criticism. I'm not saying Stipe is a bum. I agree, he's the greatest featherweight of all time, simply of his title reign, his performances in those fights, regardless of competition. He still was he reigned the longest, regardless of injuries or comp or whatever. He still was the longest reigning
I
champion
think
ever, and he bounced back. He even bounced back after his
But
he lost his
ladies and
title.
gentlemen, before Alistair Overeem fought Stipe Miocic and lost, he was beating guys like Stefan Struve, knocked him out. He beat Roy Nelson. He beat JDS, knocked JDS out. And then he beat. This was in 2015. He beat Roy Nelson in 2015. He knocked out JDS. I remember that fight. He knocked him out clean, and then he knocked out. Andre Arlovski, and then that's when he lost to Stipe Miocic. So he was on a 4-fight winning streak, knocking his opponents out. Outside of the decision he had against Roy Nelson, right? Before he fought Stipe.
And I think if you pass a post-fight drug test and also finish Daniel Cormier, that's a huge, achievement in and of itself, in my opinion.
Is Stipe over DC?
I think pound for pound, no. Heavyweight, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I got DC over Stipe.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, I'll give you that. But this debate was strictly, see, the reason why Mookie keeps winning so because we're talking strictly about all time. If you want to talk heavyweight, I'll put Stipe right at the top of it, ahead of anyone at the heavyweight. I can give you that. But when we're talking all time, I cannot put it. There's so many. The reason why I'm not putting Stipe at the top 5 because I can name you. I can probably give you. What was my list again? I think I can give you 10 fighters ranked higher than him of all time.
Yeah, but none of those fighters had a degree of difficulty like Stipe Miocic, and also
it's so easy to get finished in heavyweight. It's
the heavyweight is not like that though.
I'm not talking about degree.
Yeah, but but the degree of this one I mean like so far the degree of difficulty. When you're in the heavyweight and you're fighting fighters that possess one-punch knockout power from every opponent because they're so big, they hit hard as well. That takes to equate on top of that. You're beating the best heavyweight fighters in that division. So the fact that Stipe Miocic is able to possess skill, which he has, he possessed skill of his great boxing, great inside leg kick, great calf kicks as well. That's what he possessed, and his ability to adjust like a heavyweight, ability to move. Like Stipe can move pretty well for his size as well. And the fact that he was able to beat some of the best heavyweight fighters, and the fact that he was remaining a dominant champion in that division, which nobody, and I mean nobody, able to at least defend a fight title at least 3 times, come close to defending a title 3 times. I think the highest was 2. They didn't even come close to defending the fight.
I get what you're saying, bro. But
would Kane have done it? Would Kane have done it if he hadn't gotten injured all those years?
Well, just not to give Stipe an extra point, he did beat Verdum after Verdum subbed Kane. Like right after, I think Verdum's next fight was Stipe Miocic.
And Verdum broke Kane, bro. Broke him.
He did not break him.
He broke him, bro. I watched that fight. He broke him, bro.
Kane was tired. Bro.
Where was the fight? Where was the fight, bro?
It was in Colorado. It was the
It was in, I think it was in like Dubai or something. I can't remember when, but it's like Kane was fucked because of the climate.
Yeah, the climate.
Kane is literally known for his cardio. How is he?
So if that's the case,
only sea level.
If that's the case, after hold on. If that's the case, right? After Kane came back, right? Who do he lost to? After he lost to Fabricio Verdum, he came back and beat a washed up, mediocre ass Travis Brown. That was terrible.
It was in UFC 200. He came back, dominated him. But the thing is, every time he tried to come back again, or even before that, he kept getting injured and fights would get cancelled. Then he'd come back and fight Francis, and then when he fought Francis, he tore his ACL in like the beginning of the fight.
No, stop.
He did.
He didn't tore his ACL in like before the fight, bro.
Not before the fight.
In the fight.
Yeah, in the fight.
Francis made him tear his ACL.
Well, I think.
Hold on. That uppercut that Francis Ngannou led that went over because I think Francis Ngannou was trying to go in for a double leg takedown, and what Francis Ngannou did is he landed that uppercut, which I believe Cain Velasquez landed wrong on his goddamn knee, and that allowed him to torn his ACL.
slipped
If
a little
y'all
bit
go back
before
and
that.
rewatch the fight,
He slipped a little bit before that though.
y'all say he slipped.
You're telling me Francis hit him so hard that he lost his ACL.
Nah, it was right before the punch.
Bro, I know it
Guided
sound.
you.
Hold on. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm gonna go back.
Look, I know. Look, Francis
He
hit harder
stepped
than
the
the Ford
wrong way,
Escort. I
though.
get that. I feel you on that. I hear that. He hits harder than the Ford Escort. I get it.
Do you
But
think? I know
hold on.
Jones's chin hasn't been tested at heavyweight, but do you think he could take like? How do you think Jones reacts to like a jab? Because we saw how Stipe was getting just absolutely flown every time that Francis Ngannou jabbed.
Let me show y'all this right quick. Hold on.
yeah, but to be fair, okay, go ahead. Oh my God!
You see how you try to go in for that takedown. Hold on.
See how he stepped down there?
You see that? See how he stepped down there, left his ass exposed. This was a beautiful strike by Francis Ngannou. He's so powerful enough where when Cain Velasquez was ducking down trying to go in for a takedown, he hit him with that uppercut, and the way that he fell fucked up his knee.
Rwanda.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
I couldn't see shit.
Bro, yeah, you couldn't even see.
No, y'all couldn't see it.
It looked like his head
picture
moved a little bit. It looked like the head moved and he went limp. You know, people have their, ACL give out a lot, but their head and body don't just go limp with it. I'm still a little 50-50 on like what actually like.
You got to get a better angle.
No, I don't see him going limp before he ducked down. Like he wasn't going limp. Like I see him just going in for a takedown, and then next thing you know, Francis Ngannou hit him with that counter uppercut, which made him go limp, and he fell wrong. It was an awkward fail for Cain Velasquez. But back to
that's what they need to do.
Yeah. Salute my guy Jose. He's a good clip. Back to about John Jones and Francis Ngannou. Sandman, how do you have that fight going? If they was to hypothetically fight with each other, John Jones and Francis Ngannou.
I think, let's just say that, Francis took 5 months off after beating Stipe second time, or just coming off of the Ciryl Gane win. A prime Francis Ngannou, I think, is just not a good match for Jones, just because Jones is just fundamental striking defense. John is now fighting someone with a very similar reach than him. It really only takes one punch with Francis. And if your defense isn't on point, you're kind of screwed. Francis has a big, Francis's anti-wrestling and offensive wrestling aren't exactly the most technical, but I think the size advantage is going to give John a little bit of trouble, regardless of how superior John is in the wrestling. If Francis can stuff, 1 or 2 takedowns early on, which, again, I'll cite, before, John hasn't, other than Ciryl Gane, John hasn't been exactly the most dominant wrestler in the lightweight division. I think it took him 2 rounds to take down Anthony Smith. I'll check that, but I think that's, the case. So I don't know. I think it's just way too risky to make a mistake against Ngannou. I don't see how Jones finishes Ngannou either. He's just way too durable. He's never looked hurt ever.
You don't think he can out-grapple him? I know you said about the wrestling, but with the takedowns, I get that. But there's other ways to take someone down besides a double leg or a single leg. So you don't think that Jones can out-grapple Francis?
Yeah, I think the trips, you don't want to be with Francis at that range. If John can clinch up with Francis, that could happen. Mm-hmm. He could just out-technique him. But I think getting to that point is insanely dangerous for John. I think over 5 rounds especially, John's just going to be in way too much trouble, a little bit too open. John's going to have to fight the perfect fight for, if there is someone to do that, it would be John Jones, to use his fight IQ to completely just negate any offense that Francis Ngannou has. But I just think that, Francis has fought higher level strikers with better defense than he went. He didn't land too much on Ciryl Gane, but he went toe-to-toe with him to some extent.
Yeah, and he also had 2 bum knees. So I'm not really using that
Exactly.
as
So yeah,
the measures to confirm.
I would have Francis win. I just don't think there's too many avenues for John to win.
Great points.
Yeah, I think
I 100% agree with you saying, man. I think John Jones is not going to be able to do enough to tire Francis Ngannou out because he's so much of a threat in boxing range. He's so much, and this is the thing too. The weight that John Jones was going to have to put up in that fight, I don't think John Jones' cardio or him going to be that fast is going to be excellent in the heavyweight division. You got to understand that before we looked at John Jones, we look at John Jones, his athletic ability, his ability to actually go 5 rounds without looking tired, looking gassed, and his speed at the light heavyweight division was so difficult for fighters to game plan for that. Now you go into the heavyweight division, right, where you're adding more muscle, you're bigger, right? And guys are heavier. So that means that if you go in for a takedown and you fail, and guys deny your takedowns or your trips or your ability to try to get somebody on the ground, that's going to take a negative impact to your gas tank. And I don't believe that John Jones, with the muscle that he added and the weight that he added as well, is not going to be nearly as fast as he was in the light heavyweight division or possess that type of cardio that he had in the light heavyweight division, because the heavyweights is so just tough to have that type of gas tank, especially the weight and the muscle that John Jones is putting on. I don't think John Jones is going to be able to do enough to just gas Francis Ngannou out. You got to understand, Francis Ngannou is more patient now. He's more patient with his shot selection. He's a tremendous counter striker, right? He finds that his shot selection is pretty good. Just slipping out of simple jabs and yeah.
Well, John Jones doesn't move.
Francis. Right? This is the thing about Francis. He's not his boxing or his striking. It's not that great when he's on the attack. Like when he's on the attack, trying to knock somebody out, he typically just telegraphs his overhand. You know what I'm saying? But when somebody's trying to go inside or try to lay in jabs on him or trying to just engage with him, he's so dangerous with his counter striking with the left, with the lead uppercuts as well. But as a pressure fighter, he's, to me, that's the one flaw about Francis Ngannou. Like when Francis Ngannou is on the attack, he's so telegraphed with that overhand that he typically throws. But like in range, where you're engaging with him, his shot selection, his ability to find your chin is so prevalent. Where I've seen so many times where even when JDS tried to engage with him, his counter striking to land with that right hand was so prevalent on the finding chin. Even when Andre Arlovski tried to engage with him, was found I think he hit him with a rear overhand as well. Even when Andre Arlovski tried to engage with him, usually when fighters try to engage with Francis, bro, in the boxing range, they get caught. The only way you can neutralize Francis if Francis Ngannou just be aggressive, just throwing overhands, not setting them up, and he's on attack. He's nowhere near good as a pressure fighter to me. Damn, that was a elite breakdown. But go ahead, Sam.
I hate the Cyril Gane fight, right? Because I don't know what it answers for John Jones's.
It just didn't answer enough. Yeah,
I just don't know. Maybe it could show some bias against John that I have, but I just didn't see too much in that.
But fight. you don't like John Jones?
Person get guillotined, you know.
Oh, man, we already know that.
You don't like John? You don't like John Jones?
No, I like John Jones. I'm just joking.
Nah, stop. That's what you was saying that.
It's not lie.
No.
It's not lie.
Yeah. Look, I 100% agree with the breakdown you said. It's a fight that it's one of the fights where I'm just like, matter of fact, I want to get y'all top 5 right quick. We gotta get our top 5 for clip purposes, man. What is y'all top? I'm gonna say top 3 because I don't want y'all to be thinking a long time. What is y'all top 3 fights that you wish the UFC can make it happen and they never did? What are those top 3 fights? I'm gonna go with Sandman, and I'm gonna go with Yo, and then I'm gonna go with T.
I mean, the obvious fight is GSP Anderson Silva. That's probably number 1 in my book. I think it's at that time the two. It's gonna kind of be like, well, Francis Ngannou versus John Jones at that time. Just the two highest level people coming together. It would have been a very competitive match. You know, that's probably my number 1. I would have loved to see that fight. Number 2, I can't imagine how insanely fun a Shane Carwin and Francis Ngannou fight would have been. Just two guys that cannot get knocked out for the life of them. I mean, especially when Francis Ngannou would gas out a little bit earlier, that would have just been an insane, slugfest of people. It would have been a highlight reel of people just taking KO shots without going down and gassing out in the third round. Just, just an absolute war against each other. Another one I really, really would have loved, and maybe it's just goes to show how big of an Oliveira fan I am. I'm really wondering how much people always talk about Tony versus Khabib. I'm wondering how good of a fight Oliveira versus Khabib would have been. It just would have been really interesting to see how Khabib's pressure, because we haven't seen, we rarely see Oliveira go the distance ever. It would have been nice to see how hard, Khabib can be hit without being knocked out. How, if it's,
you don't think it's going to be some duplicated like the Islam and Oliveira? You don't think that's going to be it's going to be the same story?
I think Khabib and Islam are just very different fighters. I think, I don't think that Islam's striking is just way better than Khabib's in general. I think just his fundamental striking and defense caught Oliveira going in with a knee naked. I think that Islam may have been a tougher matchup for Oliveira, but I would have just loved to see Oliveira fight Khabib, see how that would have turned out.
So are you saying that, like, are you saying like skill for skill, Islam is better
just
than
stylistically, it's a harder. Just
no.
Khabib,
Who was a more of a skill fighter, Islam or Khabib?
All-rounded Islam skill. Khabib's a better grappler in my opinion. Khabib's a better grappler in general. Islam kind of likes to, he find a position with you on the ground. Khabib just wants to hold you tight with his legs and just absolutely smash you, give you, devastating ground and pound. Nothing really you can do to negate that. I think if Islam and Khabib were to fight, I think Khabib would have won. But I think overall, as an MMA fighter, Islam is more complete. And, in his, well-roundedness is a tougher matchup for Oliveira than Oliveira for Khabib. That's just my opinion, though.
Who you think is the better fighter?
Bit of a loaded question, but I do think in terms of just how this current scape of MMA, I think you have to be good at everything. I would have to say that Islam is a better fighter just on the virtue of how well-rounded he is. And, Khabib is not, standing up with Volkanovski, right? Khabib is, I don't think there's any chance. I think unless Khabib has a really strong game plan of really, really threatening the takedown and having a really just.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
No, I think
Sorry about that. I got cut off.
Yeah, go ahead.
You were saying?
Yeah, if we see what happened with Khabib and Conor, Khabib landed a huge overhand right on Conor, not because Khabib's a better striker, just implemented a good game plan. And, Khabib could do that with Volk potentially, just depends on how he reacts to the takedown feints. But overall, I think, if they stand in the center of the octagon, Volk is lighting Khabib up and, potentially getting out of, the danger of the blast double leg, which I think Khabib has a better blast double leg than Islam.
You agree with that, T?
Well, overall, yeah. I mean, yeah, Islam's got a deeper bag, I guess, than Habib.
Y'all better stop. The Khabib fans gonna be crazy, man.
Islam's more skilled, more rounded offensively from a striking standpoint. The grappling, I do think Habib is slightly better. Even though their style of grappling is kind of different as well. But
there's a huge difference in chin as well. Khabib can take, shots much better than Islam.
Well, yeah, I mean, Islam got knocked out, so clearly. But like you said, it's in that sense and being more well-rounded. I guess Islam is technically the better fighter. Who would win against each other? I don't know. Probably Habib, but
Yeah, I
Going
think
back to what you were saying
Khabib.
about, Habib versus Volk, I think Habib would just approach that fight the same way he approached the Gaethje fight. Just just looking at their stances and the threats with their boxing and low kicks. I would assume that Habib would just focus on closing the because Volk ain't like a one punch knockout power kind of guy, and he's not you know yeah, so and it's not like it was one of those ones where Habib could get caught coming in, so Habib would probably just walk him down and just I guess just do what Habib does, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, but I pretty much agree with the Islam
Yeah,
Habib comparisons.
yeah. That fight. I don't say because this is like the same. Like Islam and Khabib. Like Islam is a better striker. I think Khabib is far superior, more of a dominant grappler than Islam Makhachev. But
I
I
think
just
it's
think,
far off though.
yeah.
With their
I think,
grappling.
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I think that fight would have went out the same way, bro. Just the way that Khabib approaches his fights, heavy pressure, light on his feet, jumping. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to just close the distance and trying to get his hands on you. That's how the fight is gonna really play out. Yo, man, who's your who your top 3 fights that you wish you would have saw, man?
I wish I would have saw Jones versus Rest in Peace Rumble. Anthony Rumble was my favorite fighter, bro. He was my favorite fighter, bro. So that's number one. Number two, I wanted to say that McGregor versus Diaz 3. I wanted to see that. And number three, if I could have a prime Anderson Silva versus Israel Adesanya, I would want to see that.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so we're not even talking fights that could have happened. You're just saying fights, just fantasy matchups.
Yeah, that I wanted to see,
we talking about fights that could have happened, or you could talk about fantasy matchups. What fight that you wanted to see in the UFC but never happened, man? You go ahead, T.
Was it 5? Yeah. I as well would have. I'll start off with Habib and GSP at 170. That fight would have been crazy.
Facts.
That would be amazing. I would like to see. Oh my goodness. Give me Conor versus BJ Penn. Conor versus BJ Penn would be crazy. That would be so fun. What else? I'd also like to see. What else would I like to see? Bro, I would have. John Jones versus Cain Velasquez.
Oh, that's
John
nice.
Jones at heavyweight
versus Cain Velasquez.
Cain Velasquez. Bro,
that's tough.
Oh,
that's tough.
I really don't like. Look, Jones is my goal. I don't know how that fight would go.
Yeah,
you don't know how that fight would go.
I don't. I literally don't. I honestly have no idea how that fight would go. I mean, it would just.
Somebody said RDA Jones versus Conor.
A prime RDA. That's a good fight.
A prime RDA. Prime RDA is a fun one, but I would much rather BJ was prime Conor. Like that fight. Oh my goodness. But the prime idea. If
so those are your dream. Yeah. Those are your dream fights.
Yeah. If I give it more thought, I probably could find more probably better options.
I'm surprised nobody said John Jones versus Brock Lesnar.
Brock would have got his ass beat.
What the fuck? Come on.
Brock would have got his ass whooped.
Hold on. Why you saying what the fuck? Why you don't think that's a dream fight?
No, it's a pay-per-view seller. You know what I mean? A lot of people will show up because Brock Lesnar, Suplex City and whatnot. Yeah, but Jones would just run through him.
Brock didn't have the
no. I'm just saying the reason why people want to see that fight because Brock is so dominant of a wrestler, and his athleticism is crazy. He's up there with one of the if you look at it in terms of athleticism, reach, strength, size.
Yeah, but he has no grappling. He has no grappling.
Who?
He has zero grappling on the mat. Brock
yeah.
I'm talking about grappling.
This is wrestling. This is wrestling.
This is MMA. This is MMA. So if he's gonna use his wrestling that he's so dominant at, eventually he would have to utilize his grappling. Or
What
use
about his
grappling
superior
against
ground and
Tony's.
pound? His superior ground and pound, his strength as well. His ability to control guys from the back and to half guard, and
That's
what.
That's grappling. Where you just
I know that. I
instantly
know
decide
that.
whether
I know
to
that.
you
I
decide to
know
go.
that.
Yeah.
I know what grappling is, bro. What the fuck? But I'm just saying, like, people would want to see that fight because just how two athletic freaks, you know what I'm saying, going against each other, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's not my dream fight, but I'm saying, like, y'all wouldn't want to see that fight.
I mean, I'd watch it.
I'll watch it. Yeah, I'll watch it. But
What
I
about
would watch
Shogun?
it.
What about Shogun Rua against Rashad Evans?
That would be a good fight. That would
be a great fight.
I wanted to see that fight, bro. Two guys that was dominate the light heavyweight division
I feel
at
like
the time,
I
bro.
feel like Sugar would. I feel like Sugar would piss me off and he would just like while Shogun would be trying to fight and try to give us a Shogun versus Dan Henderson. He would just Rashad would just level change and just fail a takedown attempt and just hold him against the fence. Because Rashad, man, I ain't gonna like shout out to him, man. He will just because them kind of stylistic fights, I kind of like second guess them because it's one guy who's looking to win and another one that's just looking to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of get you get kind of misled with those thinking, okay, Shogun's a wild fighter, it's going to be a barn burner. But then you got a guy like Rashad, he's not a boring fighter to me, but like he's not prioritizing entertaining the fans. He's prioritizing winning by any means. So, and that's not a criticism from me because I appreciate a good fighter regardless of regardless of his skill set. As long as he's skilled at what he does, and I'm more than happy to watch. But I don't think that fight would be fan friendly just because like I said, one guy's trying to have a war or have a fun fight and scrap, and then the other guy's just trying to win, and put himself in position to dominate. And
what about Jose Aldo and Anthony Pettis?
Ooh,
that would have been interesting. Just the cardio difference would have made it very interesting. Just because
you said what?
The cardio difference would have made it.
Yeah. The first 3 rounds would be an insane back. Would be just Jose Aldo dominating.
Oh, I finally caught you. Where you gonna stop ducking this smoke? You was talking in the chat, Mookie. Where you gonna get in the ring? Stop ducking the smoke, Mookie.
Ring what? What are you talking about?
You know who you talking to, right?
Oh, SB. Oh, SB. What's in bro?
Where you gonna start ducking the
smoke?
What
you talking about? UFC? You talking about? What you talking about? Talking about UFC bat? What are you talking about? Basketball?
No, whatever you want to. You a Kawhi guy. I'll cook you on anything with that.
No, you don't.
You be on gridiron capping. Whatever you want to do, just know the smoke is here.
Okay, I don't duck no smoke, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm always here. I'm always live. You know what I'm saying?
So you want to be on your home court, or you want to go to FIL? You go Macho, whatever you want to do. Player choice, however you want to do. Whatever make you.
It was whatever, bro. It's whatever, bro. But you called me out, so you might as well look. You come here, and I come whatever you want to come to. You know what I'm saying? So you want to do it at the home court because you called me out. You know what I'm saying? And I come after I cook you on the home court, I go all the way court and do it like that, bro. It is what it is.
We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna chop it. But just know, I didn't forget. I just have to catch you live.
Yeah.
I have to catch you live. I didn't forget.
Okay.
We're gonna chop it up. You ain't talking about nothing crazy right now, but don't worry about
it. Yeah. We talking about some UFC, man. I know you don't know nothing about that sport. That's that brutal sport right there, man. You need intellect to talk that sport. You know what I'm saying? You have to digest what you've seen on that in the octagon, you know what I'm saying? Talk that, man. But yeah. But what you were saying, who else was talking?
I was talking about how a Pettis and Aldo fight would have gone.
Oh yeah, Pettis and Aldo. Yeah.
I think the fact that the cardio difference is as big as it is would have made it very competitive. I think in the later rounds, as Jose starts to become a little bit more open, Pettis, with his unpredictability, is just going to throw something that could catch him. Interesting fight though. If Jose decides to chop at the legs, I think they're there for him. I don't know. Anthony Pettis' leg kicking isn't the best. I don't know if he'll check too much from Aldo. Aldo has the potential to hurt him a little bit early on, but as the fight goes, as the longer the fight goes, I think the more danger Aldo's going to be in by getting, Superman punch.
Bro, Aldo in his prime, bro.
So deadly.
Just deadly fighter, bro. Beautiful Muay Thai, elite Muay Thai.
He's probably top 5 most athletic fighters we may have ever seen. Ever.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
In those first 10 to 15 minutes, bro.
It's scary. It's scary.
It's scary.
I remember Dana years ago saying one time, he said this is when Aldo was in his prime. Like in the first 10 to 15 minutes, the first 2-3 rounds, he's the greatest fighter of all time. And then the championship round, the guy's a top 15 ranked, whatever.
Yeah. Bro, this man Jose Aldo, bro. When you look at how he fights, bro, his striking is so beautiful. His kicks, bro. If you, like just his kicks alone to me, and just his knees and being his knees in the clinch is just deadly. Like, man, and then he was fast, he was sharp, he was quick. His pace was insane to me as well. Bro, he in his prime to me. Like that if we do like prime fighters, bro, he's up there, bro. He's up there, bro. We just make a list of prime fighters. What about all right, so we did that. What about Nate Diaz versus Dustin Poirier?
Prime Nate Diaz, that'll be a fun fight, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone said. Prime Nate Diaz with his accuracy and his pace, bro. Tell me the difference. Let's talk about this. Tell me the difference of how that fight would go compared to the Charles Oliveira fight. Besides, yeah.
You talking about Charles Oliveira versus Dustin?
Yeah. Besides Charles's, Thai game, with his knees and clinch. So obviously there's a wider variety of strikes.
Yeah, he lands variety.
Yeah, but in terms of his effectiveness in the fight, it wasn't the kicks. It was more so the pace he was putting on him.
Yeah, the pace. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, obviously, Dustin fights at a higher pace as well. But then to have a guy to match that and to fight the way he fights like Charles. Nate boxing was so clean, bro. Like it was so clean. The 1-2 was always there. Was always a threat. His ability, like I said, you said make the claim. Like his pace was so crazy for me for Nate Diaz as well. And he had pure boxing. His jiu-jitsu was great. Dirty boxing, well, he could get dirty, especially in the clinch. He can land some big strikes in the clinch as well. Head movement was there. He was susceptible of getting kicked just the way that he stands. That more of that boxing stance where it's more heavy on that kick. Where So for me, bro, that fight to me, Dustin and Nate, that's a good show. That's a great fight, man. But like I said, bro, what makes Dustin boxing so good is his strong guard, bro. The way that he just tightens up and just ducks and just I love that about Dustin. I love that about Dustin. That's why I said like we measured both fighters in their prime. Oh, and then Nate Diaz on his back. When Nate Diaz was on his back, the submissions, the triangle chokes, the you know what I'm saying? Like it's there. It's the threat of the chokes when he's on his back mount is on his back. It's there. So that one, I like that one too, man.
I think it's a question if Nate can put Poirier in the same position that Hooker put Poirier in their fight when he got Poirier very hurt, because I see Nate actually finishing Dustin if he can get him into that point. I don't think he's going to stop the output, stop the volume. I think it's just going to overwhelm him. Dustin has a better gas tank than Conor. But I still think a prime Nate Diaz finds a way to just gas you out, he's not putting too much power behind his punches, but it's just, pitter pattering, getting your air out of your body. Just the cardio just diminishes over time for anyone against Nate. It will be an interesting fight.
Somebody said, Rory McDonald versus Leona Machida. What y'all think about that?
Man. No, bro.
I don't think Rory was big enough.
Yeah,
I don't think
Rory's a lot, bro. Yeah, no. But I would rather say, we want to talk about Rory. How about prime Rory versus Leon Edwards?
That's an interesting fight. That's an interesting fight.
That's an interesting fight.
If you look at their body types, you look at their skill sets, they're not far off. I would say I'd favor the wrestling with Rory, but Leon's grappling and his jiu-jitsu is very effective as well. So is Rory's top position as well, but the striking. I give the accuracy and the fluid and just the fluidity of striking and like the way how natural he is. I favor that to Leon. And then there's the IQ as well. But Rory being well coached is the way he is with Faras. And then you consider, he with his kickboxing, he had some good knees up. He had some good flying knees up the middle. That would have been a fun fight. That would have been a nice little chess match there.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. I love that Roy. I love that Roy and Leon Edwards fight. I just think Leon Edwards is more of a lethal kickboxer. That's why I will favor him in that fight. And then, like you said, like the IQ, the pace, like would you say Roy is a little bit better in distance, like management? Would you say the distance control, like fighting at a range, better? Do you think? Would you sit there and say he's slightly a little bit better than that?
Better than Leon?
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to favor Leon, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know because
it's close. What you think, Sam? What you think?
I think it's a little bit hard to tell just because I do not think Rory has faced anyone, maybe Condit, that has the same striking skill as Leon has right now. Because Rory had, he was facing wrestlers that had, really good boxing and had good takedown defense. So I'm not 100% sure. I would put money on Leon having better distance management, just the fact that he's a newer fighter and has had,
I agree.
Yeah, just on that fact, but it is a close fight in general.
Yeah. I like that one. That one is pretty good. Well, y'all like the only ones, or would y'all ever thought that prime Tony Ferguson could beat Khabib?
I don't know, bro.
No.
I think just for the fact that Khabib hasn't fought anyone who was as high level of jiu-jitsu as Tony, I think Khabib would have won that fight, but I think it's not super cut and dry. I feel like there should be a little bit of uncertainty because, let's name a fighter throughout history who isn't going to be afraid of grappling exchanges with Khabib in the lightweight division. That's going to be Tony Ferguson. Who's going to be, elbowing from bottom position, maybe not hurting Khabib, but making him a little bit uncomfortable, maybe opening up a little bit more, openings for a submission from Tony. It would have probably been Tony. I think Khabib would have won overall. I think the cardio is similar. I think that the amount of damage, I think Tony being as open as he was, I think that Khabib would have even, landed something in the striking exchanges. It's a close fight, though.
Yeah, it's a close one. I was one of the ones that was like, I think Tony Ferguson's movement, his awkwardness, the switching stances, showing different look. It just purely strictly awkwardness. Like his striking was so weird, bro. But like the striking range, the kickboxing range, the tie clinch range, and of course, obviously Khabib is a better grappler. Nobody's not going to argue that. But I just think like the jiu-jitsu threat, the threat of when Tony Ferguson is on his back, the knees. I mean, not the knees, but the elbows, the punches, the chokes, the triangle chokes, the arm bars. Just the threat when he's on his back. I think it would be something very, very interesting. It's the elbows, everything, the variety in the clinch or something like, and this is the awkwardness. Like, I think that would have been really, I think it would really throw a guy like Khabib Nurmagomedov off, because like when we seen Khabib for a fighter, a striker that just switches stands, showing them different looks, you know what I'm saying, and not more of a stationary of a striker. And Michael Johnson, I mean, Khabib had troubles in that, bro. And dude was getting outstruck in first round, bro. So that's when Khabib, made some adjustments and then took him down and dominated him. But I'm just saying that it's something because y'all gotta understand this shit too. Around that time when it was rumored to be fighting was like 16, 17, right? Around that time, I don't think Khabib. Would y'all say Khabib was at his peak around that time in 16 and 17?
I think for me personally, I saw Khabib at his height after he beat Gaethje. I thought Tony, for the longest time, I actually thought Tony would have won against Khabib just because I see Tony as I see Khabib as someone to take you to deep waters, and I see Tony as someone to take you to hell. It was just like not. I was a big Tony fan at the time, but I think after the Gaethje fight, just to show it just shows that there's really levels to his grappling, and I think that's really when Khabib hit his peak, when he just triangle choked Justin Gaethje in his last fight, unfortunately. So we didn't really get to see the extent of his prime.
Where you got Khabib ranked?
All time?
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of depends what you prioritize on your GOAT debate. If you prioritize dominance, Khabib is 1 or 2. I think he's top 6 pound for pound of all time. I think he would have done very well in the welterweight division. It just sucks we didn't get to see too much.
So you got him ranked number 6?
Yeah, I think 6, just because of the fact that he barely lost a round. People like to comment on his competition level.
He did lose a round, by the way.
Say that again.
He lost a round.
So yeah, barely. Like he lost a round against Conor in I think it was the 3rd round of their fight or something like that. Yeah, I think you never see him cut. You never really see.
He lost 2 rounds actually. He lost 2 rounds. But yeah, anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Was it in the Gaethje fight where he lost the other round?
Yeah,
or
first round.
or whatever.
Yeah, no. It was the Gaethje one.
Okay, yeah. I just think the fact that we've
why do people use this argument he never got cut and all that other stuff? Like that's impressive,
bro.
Because
it's impressive, but like it's like hold on, it's impressive, but his style, the way he fights, is not going to allow him to get cut like that. The way he fights,
a lot of people fight that. There's a lot of fighters that fight that style, and have taken plenty more damage than him.
Yeah,
that's true. But I'm saying is that
name me any fighter that has never taken any damage or come close to.
Hey, Sloop, I'm gonna got my sneak nose MMA. I'm not man. No, but I think the competition is what we got to somewhat factor in. Like Khabib, the reason why I don't rank Khabib high is because like I said, bro, like the lightweight division to me at the time was not really that good. Like, yes, he's beat Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, but those fighters were never champions. Even when Khabib left, like they still haven't.
They would be.
Even when Khabib left, and Khabib's been gone since 2020, right? They still haven't captured the gold.
Okay, let me tell you. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
So Khabib fought them when they wasn't a champion, and then when he left the promotion, they still failed to capture the belt, bro. Still,
I'll say one thing
because you had Charles Oliveira who's running through a division, was walking guys down as well,
and that's it.
And then you had Islam who was coming up. So, like, no, like even when Khabib left, nobody was sitting there saying Gaethje was the best lightweight fighter in that division. Nobody was saying Justin Gaethje was the best lightweight fighter in the division. People were saying Charles Oliveira was.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing quickly regarding the him
not until he
never
became
being
champ.
cut. I'll say one thing.
Not until he became champ. Wait, no, we're not doing this. We are not doing this, bro. Listen, bro. First of all, the reason why Justin Gaethje is the guy who would never been champ. Why he became instructor, because he beat the guy that we thought was gonna beat Khabib in Tony Ferguson. Tony became washed after the Gaethje fight. No one called him washed up until Justin Gaethje put that beating on him. Then what happened? He loses to Khabib. Why? Okay, he loses to the best lightweight ever. Cool. He moves on, and then what happens? He needs to earn his title shot back again after Khabib is retired. So what does he do? He fights Michael Chandler. Beats him in a fan-friendly fight. Then he fights Charles Oliveira. Cool. You want to say Charles Oliveira is better than him? I'll take that. He beats him. That's fine. Okay, cool. But that doesn't say Justin Gaethje is a bum or anything like that. That's still.
So I'm supposed to take that he beat Tony Ferguson out of his prime. That making
he was not out of his prime until he beat him. No one was saying he was out of his prime until he beat Tony.
But you said DC was out of his prime when Stipe beat him, bro, and nobody was saying that DC was out of his prime when DC beat Stipe the first time. So you easy work, T. You easy work, what? Bro. No, because you can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and say, hold on. You can't have it both ways, T. You cannot sit there and want to just handpick and want to sit there and say this fight was not in his prime. This fight was not in his prime. So we're gonna take away what he's gonna do. This fight is a prime because you do it when Stipe Miocic, when he fought DC, when he beats DC the second time. So when I reversed it, use your logic on why I thought that Tony Ferguson was not in his prime. Tony Ferguson was not in his prime when Justin Gaethje beat him, right? You have a problem with that, saying that nobody was not saying that.
I said he was washed after the second fight, the third fight. The second fight, what I held against him was the fact that the guy had a broken back when he fought Stipe in the second fight. He had to take surgery, but he didn't do it anyway because they were in a rush they were trying to rush Stipe for the rematch. So DC took the fight not on short notice. Obviously, he had a full camp, but he needed surgery, and he delayed that surgery to give Stipe the rematch. And to say that didn't have an effect, that's disingenuous. But to talk about Tony being, was anyone saying Tony was out of his prime before he fought Justin Gaethje? Anyone here?
Yes, there's people saying that.
How? Based on what? Based on what? Before the Justin Gaethje fight.
This is based on how based on how you look. Based on people saying that how he looked against Cerrone, they said they didn't think he would look as nearly as dominant against Cerrone as well. No. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling what people were saying. That's what I'm saying, T.
The people's is lying. People's is lying. People's are lying.
Well, I'm just basically sitting there saying that, he beat Tony. That's cool. He beat Tony. That was cool. Impressive. It's not cool, but it was impressive. It was impressive. But I'm just saying, like, him being Tony Ferguson, which Tony Ferguson, I think he was peaking at being an interim belt or beating a guy like Kevin Lee, and then after he was
win streak, bro.
Fight
win streak until just beat him. That has to mean something.
But I'm just saying that even when Khabib left, and this is a fact. This is why I just be cooking people on UFC.
But no, you're
even when he left, even when he left, right? If we look at Charles Oliveira range on him beating Kevin Lee, him beating Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, that reign that he was doing, people were sitting there saying, this guy is the best lightweight in the world. When Khabib left, Gaethje or Tony was never. I mean, not Tony, but Gaethje or Dustin Poirier was never considered the best lightweight in the world. And their inability to capture the belt just shows y'all that, like,
because the division opened up when Khabib left. The division was finally open.
Fair.
There was Gaethje, there was Poirier, there was Conor was coming back. Remember, Conor was on his 2020 season return and whatnot. And then we still had Tony. Obviously, we believed he was washed. But we were still hopeful for the comeback, for the bounce back.
So my basics of my argument is that Khabib, like, if you want to say he's dominant, I got a different definition of dominance compared to the UFC. What Khabib could do, I think his fighting style is dominant. It, like, the fact that people know what he's gonna do, and the fact that he could continue to do that with the pressure forward attacks, his elite takedowns and his elite grappling sambo, all that I think is very, very impressive. And I think one point in time is improved ability for a basic defensive fighter has improved as well. But I just think for Khabib is strictly like his competition is terrible, bro, to me, bro. And
terrible.
For me to,
I think that regardless of him not going on a super long reign, him not fighting maybe the
longevity,
best,
longevity,
I think
because this is the thing, Sam. This is the thing, Sam. Man, this is the thing. I felt though Khabib Nurmagomedov cleared that lightweight division out, bro. I feel like there was no contenders, no rising contenders for Khabib Nurmagomedov that can at least compete with Khabib. Yeah, my problem with Khabib is when he beat Justin Gaethje, which I believe that was a great win for Khabib. We're talking about in terms of his resume. I was looking forward for him going up another weight class, which I believe that at that welterweight division at that time was one of the most stacked in the UFC at the time. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see Khabib go up another weight class and capture another belt or dominate that welterweight division as well, because you had fighters that I believe that can actually test Khabib Nurmagomedov, bro. But the fact that he retired, I'm like, he retired too early. Like, he was dominant. Like to be fair, he was dominant, but the competition was suspect to me. But he retired too early, and I just wanted him to go up another division because, for the most part, Khabib was struggling to make weight, bro, in the 155. He could have easily moved up earlier.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I felt like he could have moved up to the welterweight division, especially when you were literally killing yourself on making 155, and you know that the welterweight division at the time was stacked with deep competition like Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia, many other fighters as well. I can't name on the top of my head right now, but I feel like he could have moved up to welterweight, and if he would have moved up to welterweight, captured the belt there, fought some great contenders as well, then that's when I'm like, you know what? I think Khabib Nurmagomedov can make a claim that he is actually a top 5 fighter of all time. I don't think Khabib is not a top. I don't think Khabib is a top 5 fighter in the UFC. I think your ranking 6 to 10. You know, I like that ranking. I think it's fair, but I don't got him high on my list. Bro.
Yeah, and I'll elaborate.
I get the longevity argument. I understand the longevity argument. We're saying that, you know, he didn't stay long enough to show how great he is. That you can't argue that I can agree. But the dominance is strictly based on the performances he gave, the fights he took. And in the fights he took, he established to me the most consistent and the most dominant performances, in my opinion. And you say about the competition, bro. The way I don't understand the competition argument. Like, that is crazy to me. I mean, back to back, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor. Yes, he took the Icon to fight. That's not the greatest competition. Cool, fine. Let's forget about that. But before that, who did he fight? Was it Edson Barbosa?
Yeah.
When Edson Barbosa was, listen, I'm not. He's not a champion, but he's a dangerous.
Barbosa.
Like I said before. To beat
Barbosa
Edson
was
Barbosa.
Nice.
Listen, Barbosa.
He was nice, but come on, bro. Like he was never championship caliber.
That's cool.
He was dangerous though.
Only championship. Bro, the reason I'm mentioning Barbosa is because the only people that have beaten him are high level at the time championship caliber fighters. That's my point. That's why I mentioned Barbosa. I know he's not champion himself or championship caliber, but the guys he's lost to are. So for me to mention for Habib to be able to, but not just beat Barbosa, he dominated him for every single second. That was probably the most dominant performance in 15-minute 3-round fight of all time.
So let's take it back. I want my guy Sneed to get chimed in on this too. Let's take it back. So he beat Al. He went a decision with Al, and it was on a short notice, and didn't look dominant in that fight.
Sorry,
he went to the shit. Hold on. He went to the decision with Edson Barbosa, right? And you can say the later rounds he looked dominant, but not to Khabib's standard, wasn't dominant. Michael Johnson, he submitted Michael Johnson in the 3rd round, but got picked apart in the first rounds, in the earlier rounds, which he just didn't know what to do with his striking as well. So that got exposed. Yes, he beat Rafael dos Anjos, but before that, I don't think he beat Rafael dos Anjos before he started entering his peak in his prime. That's when before he started putting up impressive win streaks as well, and then captured the belt. And then he lost to T-Bar. I believe he lost that fight against T-Bar, but nobody want to talk about that. But for the most part,
that was like his second fight in the UFC.
Come on, it's always another Khabib excuse, bro. Oh my goodness, bro. Y'all do it every time, bro. It's crazy.
Talk about
he's bro. He's never ever, you know what I'm saying, beaten no former champion. And on top of that, bro, like his competition, he beat some good fighters.
Never beat a former champion.
Well, RDA was a former champion.
No, but RDA wasn't a champion. RDA wasn't. RDA wasn't a champion. RDA was a championship. He was a champion after he fought Khabib.
Oh yeah.
And Conor, Conor was a champion, but Conor was not he was not in his right mental state. And plus, like you said, you already sat there and said that he had injuries going to that fight as well. So, bro, Khabib is cool, but he's just not. When I'm looking at a fight, I look at like a guy like John Jones. I look at a guy like Anderson Silva. I look at a guy like Demetrius Johnson. I look at a guy like GF Peace. Well-rounded mixed martial artists, guys that can finish you on your feet. Hold on, a guy that can finish you on your feet, in the clinch, on the ground, submit you, ground and pound you. You know what I'm saying? Many other aspects that can dominate you in a fight. Yes, Khabib what makes him dominate. The fact that he can just dominate you one way, and you know what he's gonna do. He can dominate you. That's cool. But the fact that Jones can dominate him with his management and his kickbox and him being a threat with his kickboxing and his striking is great. The clinch, ground and pound, elbows, knees to the body, elbows, spinning back, just many other ways that they can dominate you in a fight. Especially how the way the UFC is played right now. Go ahead, T.
Yeah, so you were saying about Habib's dominance is different because guys like John Jones, GSP and stuff are just only the top 5 greatest of all time. You were saying that that they have different ways of finishing fights or winning fights. So basically saying they have a wider variety of skills. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you using that to saying their dominance is more impressive because of that. Let me just make a comparison, like a basketball comparison. In the NBA, who would you say is the most dominant player of all time? Dominant in the NBA. Would you say Shaquille O'Neal?
In the NBA, you got Shaq, you got Jordan, Kobe, many other.
Would you say it's Shaq? Would you say it's Shaq? Is it fair to say for me to say Shaq's the most dominant? Not the greatest, but the most.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Was he the most skilled player ever, or one of the most skilled?
Yeah, he's one of the most skilled. His ability to actually hold on. Yes, his ability to dominate in the paint, his ability to post up, his ability to actually be a threat of the lob threat as well. I think it requires skill to do what he's able to do.
No. I'm not saying does he have skill. I'm not saying.
Oh, okay. Is he the most skilled?
Yeah.
Is he the most skilled? No. He's not the most skilled. Yeah.
And he's not in the conversation for most skilled, is he?
No, for sure. No. But dominance. When you talk about dominance, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Dominance. That's my only point with Habib. Habib's only legacy, in my opinion, is his dominance. The fact that he's undefeated. The fact that his performances have no flaws in terms of receive or taking any damage. That's my point.
Yeah.
Habib, his longevity is not there because like I said, he retired early for personal reasons. But in terms of his performance in the cage, like, do you know like how hard it is to say this guy I'm fighting right now? I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna try to wrestle me. He has certain entries to his takedowns. I know what he's gonna do. I've taken 2-3 months to prepare for him, and I
understand it. That's why he's dominant. But when we talk, I understand it, T. That's why Khabib is dominant. But when I'm looking at guys, and when I'm looking, he's dominant. I understand it. But when I'm looking at the UFC, he's not the most dominant. I don't think he's the most dominant because when we look at MMA, where there's so many aspects in fighting in MMA, you got kickboxing, Muay Thai, judo, boxing, striking, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, many other martial arts that goes into a whole in MMA, right? And the fact that I look at John Jones and I'm looking at, elite kickboxer, elite striker, great in the clinch, pretty good grappler as well. The fact that I can look at John Jones fights and sit there and say, hey, bro, turn on the fight where John Jones dominates somebody in the clinch. I turn to Glover Teixeira where he literally picked Glover Teixeira apart. Show me a time where John Jones used his grappling to submit somebody. I can look at what he did standing guillotine against Lyoto Machida. Look at the fight, turn into a fight where he used his kicks to actually knock somebody out. I can look at what he did against DC in the second fight. That's dominance. I can literally just give you every different aspect that they're dominating in MMA, which is very, very hard for somebody to be an elite all-around MMA fighter. And the fact that they literally dominate guys with their striking, with their wrestling, with their clinch, with their kickboxing. I can go and look at somebody like that. I can look at Anderson Silva.
I could quickly say something because you could argue someone like Anderson Silva for the time being was the most dominant fighter ever, just turning people's lights off just instantly.
Thanks.
But I think going back to what you were saying about how Khabib's style, negates him from damage. The only reason he's on the top 20 is because of his dominance. I think we can't understate that. Look at a fighter like George St. Pierre. I think his striking defense is like 72%, like takedown defense, top control record. He has a relatively safe style, and look how screwed up he gets in some fights. The cuts that open, the bruises that open. And he has seemingly perfect fights, especially in the start of his title reign. So I think we can't underrate how insane of achievement of never getting cut, regardless of what you look at his resume. Even if he's fighting an unranked lightweight, never getting cut, never getting hurt, fighting at the top level, not for a long time, which is what brings him down. But that is unseen in mixed martial arts because, you look at how dominant did we see, Ilia Topuria, how dominant he was against Emmett. Ilia still had like a black eye after. He wasn't hurt by any means, but he had a black eye after.
That's what I'm saying. You prove my point. The way that he fights is more susceptible. If you getting hit, you're more susceptible. I guarantee you, if Khabib Nurmagomedov had a good enough striking game, and he just stands up for most of the fights in the first round or the second fight, guarantee you that Khabib Nurmagomedov would get cut. He would get bruised. He would get hit. But the fact of the matter that Khabib Nurmagomedov fight with this heavy pace, pressuring fighters, going for the legs. Like half of the fighters that he's fighting has the fear of the takedown, so they're not going to be nearly as the striker they were before.
Him for that.
No, I'm not discrediting him with that. But I'm saying is this: the reason why Khabib fights like that because his boxing is shit and his striking is terrible. But the reason why he's able to fight like that because he's so great of an elite level grappler and a wrestler. That's the only skill set he's able to know. So when he's able to do that and he's doing it at a dominant fashion, people are going to sit there and say, okay, he's going to be dominant and he's never got cut before. But I guarantee you, if Khabib Nurmagomedov has some good enough striking, I guarantee you he would be standing up more than damn near 3 seconds in a fight, and he would have more susceptibility of getting hit, hurt, or getting cut.
Okay. See, that point you just made there makes our point about his dominance, saying that it's because of his takedowns and that's why he takes that there is his dominance. Also, just to point out what you were saying about Jones, you can pull up his clinch game or his striking and whatnot. You can pull up some of those fights where he's taking damage. You want to pull up his striking, his striking masterclass? Pull up the Gustafsson fight, the one that he won. How did he look in the end of that fight? Even though he won, how did he look? Do you know what I mean? He had one eye that was almost shut.
Yeah, because Gustafsson was an elite level striker. He was elite level.
So was Conor McGregor. So was Justin Gaethje.
But Conor McGregor was nowhere near his prime, his peak. You know that, and he was injured. You sat there and said that shit, bro.
Okay, go. Forget Conor. Justin Poirier. Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, who's a heavy hitter, knocks people out with one punch.
You think they championship caliber?
And Habib, yes, he is championship caliber. Just because you're not champion does not mean you ain't championship caliber.
All right, look. Listen, you name up Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. I'm just sitting there saying that what it could be looking at fight, what it could be doing that fight. Heavy pressure, going for the legs, diving for the body, right, and try to take him down. That's what he does. You proving my point. That's how he fights. I'm saying is this: if Khabib was more confident in his striking, and if he had the ability to strike with those good enough strikers, I guarantee you he will be able to get cut.
But that would be more often.
I think the fact that everyone knew what he was going to do negates that. I think the fact that his game plan was relatively simple the whole time. There's ways to, beat people up on bottom position. There's ways to beat people up in the clinch. It's not like Khabib's never clinched up with anyone before. It's not like, people can't throw a knee or, maybe move their hip to the side to try and hurt him on the way down for a blast double leg. I just think the fact that, and we've also never seen this ever, regardless of how dominant, even when GSP was at his most dominant, he would still get cut a couple of times. The only person that it's kind of even close to that is Anderson. But
that's why I think it's I ain't gonna lie, no offense to y'all. That's why I think it's a little bit of a casual take when y'all say just because he hasn't got cut that makes him more dominant. Because when you in the UFC, bro, it's a lot of
it's the amount of 10-8 rounds he also has.
No. Yeah, exactly. I understand that, but hold on. What I'm saying is that when y'all make the point of saying that he's dominant because he's never got cut, that according to your logic, that means John Jones and many other fighters are not dominant because they got cut before. It just don't make sense. When you're in the UFC, you're more susceptible of getting hurt, kick, knee, elbow, many other punch. You're going to get cut because you're right. That's how you fight.
Why can't you give it up?
And then you look at someone like GSP, who probably has the safest fighting style, and probably even more safer than Khabib. He gets fucked up in his fights. He has the most top control.
Dudes like
GSP,
Matt Serra.
I've seen GSP. I've seen GSP play a safe, one of the safest fighting styles ever. And I can still pull up clips of him getting dropped, knocked out cold.
Because he's
open.
But let me ask you something: Is GSP on standing up more than Khabib Nurmagomedov? Is he just diving towards the knee?
Hey Mookie, this is what I don't get. This is what I don't get. Why do you give it up? Why are you praising dudes that because they risk it more, they get hit more, but you're gonna take points away from the guy that's taking the safe route and he's actually playing to his strengths and not allowing himself to get into positions where he could get hurt.
But
That's actually higher IQ. That's what that is.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Their strength is the striking. Their strength is the clinching. Their strength is the wrestling. Their strength is the judo, the taekwondo, the kickboxing. That's their strengths. So when they're playing to their strengths, which they have more strengths than Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? They're going to be more susceptible of getting kicked or getting hurt on something because they're facing high-level strikers and they're facing high-level guys.
That's not dominance. That's a wider skill.
Exactly.
That's a wider variety of skills.
Exactly.
That's a different topic. And if you want to make that claim, I'm with you. I agree with you. Habib's skill set is not that.
Yeah, but I'm not. Listen. Don't think I'm not saying Khabib is not dominant. I've said there, made it clear that he's dominant.
No, I know that. Yeah.
But I'm saying there's more guys that's dominant in each way we're talking about.
Would you say GSP more dominant than Khabib?
Yes.
Based on performances only. We're not based on.
He said yes, bro.
I'm just talking about overall. If you're looking at from overall martial artists, he is better. He is a better kicker. He is better striker.
Like your brother said,
it's
about
better
performance though.
He's a better striker. He's a better striker by far. Grappling is complete what? Yeah,
exactly. You're taking to somebody.
We're not talking skill. We're not talking about skills. We're talking about in the performances in the cage.
Mm-hmm.
But if I hold on, but if I can
how one-sided were his fights? How one-sided? How
the most one-sided?
Mm-hmm. They weren't. That's the point. They
because he didn't fight nobody.
Oh, look at this ridiculous, bro! Don't do this, bro. Don't stop the cap,
bro. I'm not, bro. Sneed. I mean, not Sneed, but T. Bro, I listen. Outside of him beating Gaethje, which I would give you that, and Dustin, bro. Like most of his competition, bro, is fighting guys that are not in their prime.
Connor don't count now. That's what we
prime
do.
RDA.
Connor was not. He was injured in that fight.
He made him look bad. Just admit it, bro. Like
he was injured.
You always do that, bro.
T, you even said you said he was injured. T, stop, bro. Put context to it, bro.
Oh my
Mookie, wait. Young Africa. One sec. Yeah, Mookie keeps going back to this because I said one time that Connor was injured in the fight. Yes, he was injured. I said that, and it's still true. Yes, Connor was injured, but that does not mean that Connor was like a shell of himself. Okay, he was not.
He was.
Connor was
exactly.
Let me ask you something. How long Conor McGregor been out of the UFC?
From then it was a 2-year gap.
So it was a 2-year gap, and on top of that, he came in that fight injured, and on top of that, bro, he was nowhere near the mindset he was in that fight. You telling me Conor McGregor? You telling me Conor McGregor approached that fight when he fought Donald Cerrone? You telling me Conor McGregor approached that fight when he fought Dustin Poirier the second time, the third time? No, stop it, bro. That was not Conor McGregor in his right mindset. The man was drunk. He even sat there and said, "Bro, I was drinking before the fight, bro." I'm like, bro, that's not Conor, bro. That's not Conor. That's Conor.
I hear that.
You see what I'm saying?
100%. It's not Conor 100%. I get that, but that's fine. No, that's fine. But does that mean that the win itself, the performance is like?
Oh yeah, it was a great point. It was a great performance. Let me go, my guy Sneak, because I gotta get him up. Go ahead, Sneak. What you got on this?
Khabib would have never lost a single match. If he probably would have lost 5 years from today. It would have taken him that long to lose.
Fanboy.
His wrestling, I don't care about the diversity in this case, and I'm going to tell you why. You're right most of the time, Mook. But this time you're wrong. Because his wrestling was so unique. It's so far superior from anything else anyone can do. It's a separator. It separates him from everybody else.
Yeah.
So if you kick, he's grabbing your leg and you're going down, and it's pain. A lot of pain. He rearranged Edson Barbosa's face. He's never been the same. What you mean, brother? He turns tough guys into mush. What you mean he's not dominant?
I didn't say he's dominant. What the fuck? Do you hear what I was just sitting there saying?
The argument.
So hold on. So with
I
Dominic,
never said he wasn't dominant.
Hold on. With Dominic comes dominant wins, right?
And what dominant win he had?
Everybody that he fought.
Man, stop it. What about the competition? So see, y'all just looking at y'all just have hold on. You just
your point. I take your point.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Of course you're gonna look. Hold on.
John Jones has.
Of course you're gonna look. Hold on. Of course you're gonna look dominant when you're fighting less superior guys in that division, bro.
He was never gonna lose. There's no evidence that he was ever gonna lose.
Or in the lightweight, I kind of agree, but I'm saying it. That's why I sat there and said, if you got a guy like Khabib Nurmagomedov who struggled making 155 from, you got a guy. What?
You agree the fact that he wouldn't lose?
Yeah, because at the time the lightweight division was watered down.
5 years. He wouldn't have lost for 5 years.
It was watered down. I would hold on. I would have liked to see how that fight with Charles Oliveira would have went, but for the most part, that division.
He fought guys like Charles Oliveira.
No, but hear what I'm saying. I'm saying is that Khabib Nurmagomedov for the most part of his career, right, struggled to make 145. He cut so much weight going for 155. So when Khabib was at his prime and his peak, right, when he beat Justin Gaethje, right, he submitted him unconscious, right, and he beat Dustin Poirier as well, right. Why you couldn't move up to welterweight? There was killers in that welterweight waiting for you, bro. Colby Covington,
yeah, but that's what you wanted.
No. It's not what I wanted. That's what typical. That's what all the great fighters did. Hold on, Volkanovski. Hold on. Volkanovski went up, fought the best fighter in the lightweight division at the time, Islam Makhachev. What he look? He did his. Many people think he won that fight. Conor McGregor went up and captured that champ. Hold on. Conor McGregor won the UFC featherweight championship, knocked out the greatest featherweight of all time. And Jose, hold on, can you stop cutting me off? Conor McGregor knocked out the greatest featherweight fighter of all time, and Jose Aldo went up to 55. Captured the belt. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've seen all the great fighters went up. John Jones went up.
In the history of
everybody went up.
You just named 5 guys in the entire history of a promotion. Not everybody does that. You're naming something rare. Not everybody wants to go into another division.
It's not. I would say.
Let me ask you something. Hold on. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, Sneed. Did John Jones move up to another division? Yes or no?
Bro, took him how long to do that, bro?
It's 12 years.
It's a yes or no question. Did John Jones move up to another division, bro?
Obviously, yeah. When the champion left,
did he capture the belt? Did he capture the belt? Yes or no?
Yeah. When the real champion left, John Jones.
Okay, then. No, it's not. You can say about it. Hold on. Hold on.
Yes, he did.
Did GSP moved up to another division, won a championship? Yes or no, nigga?
Michael Bisping.
But did he move? Hold on. But did he move up though? Did he move up? It's a yes or no question. I said it's a yes. Okay. Look, you can say Michael Bisping all you want to. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and other promotions moving up to another weight class and winning goddamn championships. Amanda Nunes moved up, won a championship in a weight class. You can say it's a featherweight, whatever. DC moved up, not the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time.
Yeah, but do you know why DC moved up?
Adesanya had the boldness to move up.
You know why DC
he lost, but he moved up another weight class.
You know why DC
hold on. For a guy in Khabib Nurmagomedov who struggled to make 155, and
Khabib planned to move up as well, by the way. Khabib did have intentions to move up. He just chose to retire because of obviously personal reasons. But it was
he could have been moved up. He could have been moved up when that man was almost dying.
Your choice,
weight man, over the 170 pounder, bro. He could have been moved up because he know he was too big for that weight.
Your choice of the GOAT of John Jones is a great choice. That is probably the best choice to make for the GOAT argument.
I think Khabib was not going to lose. Overrated.
Khabib was not going to lose, bro. It was going to be half a decade before Khabib lost.
I think that division was watered down at the time, bro. To me, bro.
What?
Nothing Khabib could do. So you wanted him to go up to the next.
No, what do you mean nothing Khabib could do? He's wrong. Don't agree with him. No, that division was stacked.
No, it was not stacked. What are you talking about? Stacked,
bro.
The only
That
the
division,
only guys you had in that division was Dustin and goddamn and Gaethje, bro,
Let me get up the division.
and Poirier. That's all you had. Dustin and you had Gaethje, bro. It's the only two fighters that you had that was legit.
Dustin, Gaethje, Conor. That's three there.
Conor, but Conor was in and out. RDA was trending towards his prime as well. Stop it.
Yeah, but no. Look. RDA was not at his best self as champion. But even the RDA that was currently at that era, the 2017, 2018
Hey,
era,
Mook, how would Habib have done at 170? He was still a
championship caliber. Against who?
Anyone. Name him.
I believe he would have lost to Kamaru Usman if they would have fought. I think he lose that fight. I think if he fought a prime Tyron,
Prime Habib at 170 is something to talk about. It is a conversation.
I think if he fought a prime Tyron Woodley, that would be very, very interesting. We're talking about a Tyron Woodley that was in his prime and his peak. That would have been a very interesting fight. Colby Covington would be an interesting fight as well. It's a lot of interesting fights there that I was like, you know what, that'd have been something different.
You know who Habib fought in practice?
Who?
Daniel Cormier. You know who else he fought in practice?
Why are you bringing it? See that? Come on.
The reason I'm telling you is that the 170 translation wouldn't have been hard.
It's a difference between. It's a difference between.
It wouldn't have been hard. He would have been fine at 170.
You're talking about from a grappling standpoint, and I agree with you. I don't think the grappling would have.
Luke Rockhold, all these guys, he would have been fine.
I agree from that sense.
He's naming a bunch of grapplers, by the way. Tyron Woodley, Kamaru Usman. He's talking about wrestlers.
But see those two guys you just mentioned. They're not just wrestlers. They're also heavy hitters, and they're also bigger than Habib.
Facts.
Habib walks around 215 pounds.
But does he hit?
Habib walks around 215 pounds.
But does he hit nearly hard?
But he's not going to be 250 pounds on the fight. He's going to be about 1.
So if he, that's fine. But all I'm saying is his conversion, his translation to 170 would be a lot better than I think you're giving him credit for.
No, I agree. I think 170 is his real weight class. Hear me out. I think 170 was his real weight class. I think for him,
Africa, you don't know
for
MMA,
himself,
bro. Shut up.
From his health, I believe 170 was his real weight class.
You're talking to the
from a physical standpoint.
However,
these guys are significantly bigger than him.
No, but
these guys are significantly bigger than him.
Yeah, they're bigger. They're bigger and they hit harder. Like it's more of a threat.
Yeah.
Like, I think Tyron Woodley.
To be fair, that's only Woodley and Usman. I think Colby. I think Habib. Does work with Colby in my opinion. Because I feel like the only threat Colby has.
Yeah, but
is
who
wrestling.
wants to see two wrestlers?
What do you mean?
Not a lot of people want to see two wrestlers.
We're not talking about who wants to see what. We're talking about how.
Right, but I'm saying if you're talking about like those fights, if we look at it, like Woodley later on became a finisher.
Yeah, he'd only fight a champion. So if he moved from let's say he moved up after the Conor fight, that means he'd have had to fight Woodley, which I think Woodley was at his tail end of his career because he fought Usman at that time. So Habib would have probably dominated that fight as well. Then
no, I'm talking about Usman around. I'm talking about Woodley at the time where he was beating Damian Maia, beating Darren Till.
Then it's more competitive. You have a more competitive. Yeah, it was more competitive chess match because Woodley's grappling deep. See, there's people who have elite wrestling defense, and then there's guys like Woodley who have elite overall grappling defense. From the wrestling exchanges, from the submission and the positioning exchanges, Woodley's grappling from technique standpoint, from a strength standpoint, was among one of the best I've ever seen. And to see against Habib, not to say that Habib wouldn't have success, but I would have loved to see it. Because to me, that's just fascinating to me. And then
in range, the threat of his knockout power in boxing range as well.
Yeah, but
he had a sneaky overhand, great right hooks as well, great check right hooks as well. I think that was more prevalent in that fight too.
But Woodley has that tendency to be very gun shy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that was even at his prime.
He don't set up. He just throws it.
That wasn't even at his. That wasn't even when he was obviously even in his prime.
And all I know is every time Habib fought his opponents, they always say the same thing. I will never forget what the hell just happened to me. They all say the same damn thing. Every single guy says, "I don't know what the hell just happened. I've never met a guy this strong. I've never met a guy this powerful. I never been
Like you
handled
said.
like that. They all
Yeah.
say the
Dustin
same
said he would have brought
every
a gun
single
to
time.
his fight.
It sound like dominance, Nate. That's what that sound like. Dominance.
You think Alaquinta said something like that?
Oh yeah, he definitely. Hey, why you acting like that was a close fight, bro? He won all 5
I didn't
rounds.
say it was a close fight, but
So what
would
we
you
talking
say that's
about?
a dominant fight for Khabib?
Yes.
He was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was a lot of
Ten, eight
fun.
rounds.
It was a lot of fun wearing
Yes.
Habib being my
It was
jacket
not,
for
bro.
like
Stop.
25 minutes. Yeah, that was a
Facts.
great time.
Listen,
Oh my
Khabib is great dominant fighter,
Oh
bro,
my
but he's nowhere near no one's should be nowhere near no
Back,
one's
back,
top
bro.
5, bro.
It's
No
back,
one.
it's back.
If you want to put him in that 6 to 10 range as well, but when you start putting him in top 5 or potentially having him as a GOAT,
He would have
it
never
just shows
lost.
y'all that number one,
he
you're
would've never
casual, and then
lost.
number 2,
Never lost.
he's overrated, bro. Never
He
lost.
would've never
Look at
lost.
this man say overrated, bro. Come on, stop the cap though, man. Overrated.
If
Hey,
you
what-
put
overrated
if you put Khabib in your top 5, I believe you're overrating Khabib Nurmagomedov.
oh my god.
It just depends
I agree.
how you
Who's the four in
prioritize
front of him, Mook?
dominance. But let's not get back into that discussion.
Or who's the 5 in front of him, I should say.
Jones, GSP, Anderson Silva, and Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
I don't think DJ was as dominant. Obviously, he
Man,
would
DJ
win
had a hell
every
of a run
round
for a
of
long
all of his
time.
fights.
DJ prime longevity and his overall skill sets him apart.
Man,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
DJ was crazy.
If
And he's
Khabib-
the most,
if
and
Khabib
he's
fought
easily,
GSP,
easily.
he
With
beat
the-
GSP.
Demetrius is easily the most skilled fighter we have ever seen, and you could probably.
All right,
say
let's see if Mook is true to the game. Aldo or Habib, who's greater?
greater or who'd win in a fight.
I know the answer to this, and he better get it right because then we know the truth about Mookie.
You said what?
Aldo or Habib, who's greater?
Who's greater? Like what you mean? Like what's your definition?
I'm gonna
of
use. I just listened to you for the last 30 minutes. I listened to your whole
Aldo,
process.
Aldo.
Okay, so you're true to yourself because that's what you're telling me. You're telling me that the greatness comes from longevity and defenses.
Longevity, skill, how well you was as a dominant champion, how great your prime was. Aldo easy was better. What the fuck type of question is that? Steve, why you would ask me some question like that, bro?
Because there are people that will evaluate just on sheer performance, right?
Yeah.
And they'll say something like, well, like I was saying, the only knock on Habib is the fact that he didn't fight for a long time in the UFC. So he didn't rack up the defenses. That's the weakness in his story. But everything else, he was very dominant.
Nobody's not denying that he's not dominant. Like I don't know why you keep on saying that.
But you're keeping him out of the top 5 because of the lack of defenses and the longevity in the UFC.
You're overrated.
I wasn't even
You're not even saying you're dominant, Mookie. You're saying the man overrated.
Yes, if you put Khabib in your top 5, I believe you're overrating him.
But he is in the top 10. You're saying?
Yeah, he's in my top 10.
Is he top 5 most dominant to you? If you have a most dominant list,
actually, if you're gonna do it based on who he beats, he shouldn't be in your top 10.
How?
No, not at all.
He's beating great fighters. What is this talk about?
No, I don't believe this. I don't think you understand, bro. I don't believe this. I know what I saw. I know what Habib was not going to lose. I already know.
Yeah, but the reason why I put hold on.
Hold on, Mookie. Let me just quick question. Do you think he's faced great competition?
I do.
I agree. Okay, cool. Okay, good. That's fine.
What?
I do.
I think
I agree.
Khabib's, the individual fights that he has fought, he has beaten the best of the lightweight division. But when you compare it to other people who you'd probably put higher on the pound for pound of all time list,
bro, y'all gotta stop this shit, bro. Like really, bro. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop him. Y'all gotta stop saying he like. Listen, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier was good fighters, but they were never once championship caliber. I never looked at them guys as championship caliber. Like them
they're
being
not championship
close.
caliber right now. Are they not title contenders now? Championship calibers?
Literally, they won interim championships, bro. That's literally the
That's
definition.
interim. That's basically.
But you know why they couldn't be champions was because of Habib.
No. Okay, so when Khabib left, why they're not champions right now? Then
that's it. They're done. They're past their prime.
Oh, so they probably.
I disagree. No, I disagree.
Oh my goodness! Well, so now they passed their prime.
It's not.
See, y'all easy work, bro. Y'all easy work, bro.
It's not easy.
Khabib's been hold on. Sneak. Khabib's been gone for 3 years. How come Dustin or Gaethje hasn't captured the belt?
It's not easy to beat really good guys in the top 5 when you're at this point in your career and you've already been punched 1,000 times in the face. It's not easy, Mook. These are long careers. Gaethje's been fighting a phone booth his whole career. He's good. He's a top 5 guy. He's a contender. But do we expect him to win the championship now? It's hard.
No.
It's hard.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hey, Oliveira was a great champion.
Khabib, bro, the threat is not there no more. You basically sat there and said the reason why they're not able to win a championship is because Khabib Nurmagomedov was in that division. I agree. Khabib left 3 years ago. How come they haven't won a championship, bro?
What is Justin Gaethje ranked?
I think he's ranked in the top 5. He's ranked.
Yeah, and he's going to be there for another year or two, and then he's out. He's not going to do this forever. These guys got a lot of mileage.
Oh my god,
it's hard to win. It's not easy to win. Every fight,
I understand it's not. I understand it's not easy. I understand it's not easy to win. But when you look at that lightweight division, the only guy right now is running through that lightweight division right now, bro. It's Charles Oliveira. And the fact that they're not, and you got Beneil and Dariush and all them other guys, but the fact that the matter that they're not able to recant, and you got Islam Makhachev, but the fact of the matter that they're not able to win a championship with Khabib left. When you sit there and said the reason why they're not able to capture a championship because Khabib was there. Khabib been gone 3 years. How come they haven't won a championship? That's my rebuttal to your talking point.
Oliveira is a great champion.
He knocked down Oliveira twice.
Great champion.
And what did Charles Oliveira did? Came back, weathered the storm, and submitted him.
Listen, the best form of Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier fought Khabib, and they got their asses kicked.
No, it was not. No, it was not.
No, it was not. Come on.
That's you telling me that was the man. Stop it, bro.
Those were the best versions of them. You ain't gonna get better than that.
I personally feel like
versions of them.
Disagree.
Mookie was a huge Conor McGregor fan. Khabib cooked Conor McGregor. He hated Khabib ever since that day, bro. That's okay, Mookie. Just admit it, bro. You don't like Khabib. You know.
No. I listen. Hold on. I don't have no bias in this when I'm talking to UFC. You know what I'm saying? I just I don't have no fans. There's fighters that I like watching, but I have no bias in this. I give Khabib credit. I think Khabib is very, very much dominant. But I just think the main thing that I have Khabib, for me, in my opinion, is the comp, the longevity. Even if y'all agree to disagree with me with the competition and shit like that.
Why did
I think y'all severely overrate Dustin and Gaethje before.
I somewhat agree with Mookie here.
Great fighters,
agree with him here. I think even if you do give Dustin and Justin like ex-champ level of skills, even if you do that, I still think there's like 5 guys above Khabib, regardless, even if Justin and Dustin were ex-champions. I think if you look at the longevity, even the dominance of Jose Aldo's earlier career, you could put him one spot above Khabib. Anderson Silva, exact same thing. George St. Pierre, exact same thing. These guys all just have longevity over Khabib. Even if you give Khabib, even if Dustin was champion and had a couple of defenses before he fought Khabib, I still don't think it changes the pound for pound ranking that much, in my opinion.
And the reason why longevity is the important thing when we looking at in the UFC, and this is why there's a major factor when you evaluating fighters, is because in the UFC it's a lot of wear and tear to your body. People getting kicked to the calf, career-ending injuries, getting hurt so many times. The fact that you're able to remain dominant for a long periods of time, especially being in a brutal sport like the UFC, bro, and being in constant training camps, constant wear and tears of your body, you're able to be great for a long period of time. It just shows.
So let me ask you, Mookie, like being 30-0, yeah, that's what that sounds like. But so let me ask you, Mookie, though. Let me ask you, when it comes to Aldo, right? How do you measure an all-time great who gets a lot of losses later in his career, like an Aldo? How you rate that? Does that take a little shine off the legacy? What does that do?
I don't measure guys just off of like win and loss. I measure how well you perform in those fights. I think when we're looking at from a guy like Aldo, for most of the part of his career, he was dominant with his Muay Thai, his kickboxing, his great striking as well. Even if you look at Jose Aldo losses, right? Because he's losing more. I feel like he's entering towards the end of his prime. So like I sat there and said, like there's context to every loss. Like I think most of Jose Aldo's losses that you're looking up, that you just Google and say, oh, this guy lost like 5 or 6 fights, that you just Google, Africa. I think most of those fights you got to put into
just
context.
Google, bro. What you talking about?
No, I know you just Google because you don't know shit about MMA.
I know you.
Hold on. I'm about to tell you.
When they lose late in their career, bro.
Why are we acting like Jose Aldo had a fall off like Tony? He still won fights.
He fell off though. He did fall off though. That's certified fact that he fell off, bro. Let's not act like it wasn't that. Don't do it.
It wasn't that bad.
Who fell off?
Jose Aldo started losing like about 5 years ago and went on streak his way at the end of his career. My simple question was, I'm asking you too, when it comes to all-time great fighters and that they have fall off late in their career because they're in the game for so long and they start losing to number one contenders. He wasn't losing to no bums, right? He was losing to great fighters. And when that happens, how do you measure a guy's legacy, and does it take a little shine off?
So you telling me that Jose, like, do you just make it seem like he was just straight losing? So you telling me that he's putting up fights where he's beating Marlon Vera and beating Rob Front and then Pedro. You telling me those fights he didn't look impressive in those fights as well?
He was getting knocked out. He didn't look impressive in the fights. He got knocked out, bro. I don't know what else to tell you, bro.
The only fight he got knocked out was
what are you talking about him getting knocked out against Cheeto or against Rob Font?
Against Conor McGregor, against Max Holloway, KOs, bro. Like he had a lot of KOs
Max
in a row.
Holloway's top of the class, man. Those are, he's past this prime. He can't beat Max Holloway, man.
Those elite level fighters.
Yeah, and plus,
I
don't think Prime Aldo beats Max Holloway because of the stylistic. Because how Aldo's his main weakness. What was Aldo's main criticism?
Cardio.
His conditioning. His cardio, it was so significant. You guys think Conor's cardio was really bad? Look back at old Aldo's wins, where he would dominate the first 3 rounds, look like the pound for pound best fighter you'd ever see. And then he, in that 15th or 20th minute,
Max was just a better fighter.
You just fade. And Max is the opposite of that. His output is an all-time high.
His pace is
so you're positive he would have been checking those calf kicks 100%.
Well, Aldo doesn't even throw. He throws kicks, but I don't think
I ain't gonna lie to you. To be fair, what Sneed is talking about, I feel like the reason why I didn't think Aldo was in his prime because Aldo was the output of his calf kicks was so prevalent, bro. Like in his prime.
He wasn't even throwing.
Bro, you would hear those snaps, bro. It was crazy. You'd see people's legs looking like
lamb. He wasn't throwing in bantamweight, but in featherweight he was. So that was his prime.
Yeah. But would you say that Max Holloway has to
Max's mobility would have been compromised with those kicks, is what I'm saying. So I don't think it would have been.
I get that. I get that. No, what I'm saying to you, don't you think that Max's mobility would be able to avoid those leg kicks?
Maybe Aldo landed him on everybody. You're basically telling me Max is better than everybody he fought. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Everyone that he's beat.
You're saying Max would have avoided all those kicks and he wouldn't have taken all that damage, and his mobility would have been all the way through 5 rounds.
I think with Aldo, like I'll give you an example now. I think Aldo, when it comes to his low kicks, they're effective in terms of when they land, but I don't think they're effective in terms of consistency and setups. Back then, when he was landing them at a high rate, back in WC days, the striking level was not as high as it is today, or back when Max and Aldo fought in 2017, 2018. If you look at a guy like Volkanovski, his leg kicks are not as powerful as Aldo, but they're far more consistent. They have far more setups, so therefore they're more effective because they're continuously landing. Whereas Aldo, if he's fighting a high level fighter who's mobile as Max Holloway, or is able to move around defensively as Max Holloway, I feel like Max can work around that and try to avoid the leg kicks. Of course, if you're talking about what if he takes the leg kicks, of course then he's toast. His footwork is compromised. But my argument is I don't think that he'll be in position to land them because that's how high I rate Max's footwork.
Do you think
and then you add the pace that he can put on Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo was already recognized as not the highest cardiovascular. It doesn't have the most endurance from a cardiovascular standpoint, whereas Holloway is the complete opposite. His pace is one of the highest of all time, let alone in the division. So I think the combination of these things.
Somebody said, "T, where was that pace against Volkanovski?"
Oh my goodness! Well, I don't even know how to. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, we want to break down that.
Not to say that I don't think Max wins against Prime Holloway. I think the cardio would have been way too much of a problem regardless of the leg kicks. But
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but do you think that Yair is a better leg kicker than Prime Jose Aldo?
Ooh,
In
power.
terms of what? This is what I'm saying.
Well,
This is
in
my-
terms
this is
of
what I'm
like,
saying.
we look at the fact of how screwed up Max's leg looked after that fight. It was completely blue after that fight.
Yeah.
If you talk
I
about
don't see
power,
Yair as
it's
much of a
easily
leg
Jose.
kicker.
First of all, you guys need to recognize the difference between a calf kick and a low kick to the thigh.
Mhm.
Those are two completely different low kicks.
We know
A
that
calf
T.
kick-
We're not
No,
casuals,
no, no, no,
bro.
no. The reason I'm bringing that up because you guys are mentioning calf kicks was Aldo was not throwing calf kicks. He throws kicks to the thighs. Calf kicks, it only takes about 3 or 4 clean ones, and then your leg
Yeah.
is finished. Whereas a kick to the thigh, if you're used
Yeah,
to
low
getting
kick.
kicked,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
you can endure those throughout a 25-minute fight.
Mhm.
Obviously your leg is going to be compromised to an extent, especially from a guy like Aldo. But you can it's not as effective as a calf kick. So you need to consider that as well. Now going back to what you were saying about Yair, I don't think Yair's low kicks are as hard as Aldo's, but I don't think Aldo's setups to his low kicks were as good either.
Yeah,
Like,
but Aldo
why
wasn't
do you
afraid.
think
Aldo wasn't afraid to throw
You're
the kick
correct. I
because
agree
he
with
had
that.
good wrestling defense and he had good jiu-jitsu, so he wasn't afraid to throw kicks.
he wasn't afraid to throw them, but how good was his setups? Like there's a reason why there's been this entire time gap where back in his prime where he was consistently persistent on those low kicks, and then all of a sudden they're not landing anymore. Why do you think that is? In my opinion, from what I've seen, I feel like the sport of MMA has no, I don't think it's depleted. I think the sport of MMA has grown.
Yeah, but Aldo's older. His kicks.
Yeah, but I kind of agree.
How old is he?
Being as
He's not that
effective
old.
with his speed.
No, he stopped throwing kicks years ago. And Aldo right now is like, what, 33, 32, 34? Like, he's not older than 35.
But I just think that I think
you expect a guy to be fast in his mid to late 30s?
Because
he's not even in his mid to late. He's in his mid to late 30s now. I'm saying to you, he stopped throwing leg kicks. Like,
he's been fighting for 15, 16 years.
Yes, but hear me out. I'm saying to you, he stopped throwing leg kicks years ago.
Yeah, he's focusing on boxing. We've seen the evolution. He's mostly boxing.
No, exactly. No, but I'm saying, why would you get off something that was so effective in your fight career?
He feels better about his boxing.
To be fair,
Well,
Aldo did switch
clearly
gyms. Aldo did switch gyms, and you're kind of at the mercy of your instructor at that point. A good martial artist puts himself at the mercy of his instructor when he goes to a new gym. So maybe the game plan just of more of his fights weren't, to throw as many low kicks.
To box too.
But I do agree.
All the time.
Yeah, but I do agree to an extent that, especially as he ages, especially as the game evolves, maybe those leg kicks would have landed on Marab, in his bantamweight.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
exactly.
would they land. I'm not talking about the effective if they did land. I'm strictly talking how would they land consistently throughout a 25
I don't really set it up. He just throws it out there. He just throw the low kick.
He's strictly a Thai boxer, and Thai boxers they literally stand in the middle of the center of the ring or the cage, hands a guard high, lead leg is very light, and then they throw the leg kick when it's open. Whereas whereas a guy like Volkanovski, what's he doing? He sets up his low kicks. Like I said,
he's moving around. He's moving around.
He's moving around. He's giving you different looks. He's throwing feints. He's putting you in position to get caught with the low kick consistently throughout the entire fight. Whereas Aldo's not doing that. He's not going through all these efforts to set up his low kicks. He just seeing an opening. Oh, it's there. Boom, and then it's going to be done.
But I just it was frustrating for me because I think like Sneed has what like the damage is always there for Aldo just throwing it. The fact that he wasn't just throwing it, and you just made a point of like about the skill, like how people just consistently moving. It's like, bro, like there's other fighters that I know that just don't set up their kicks, but they're still landing there, like because they just throwing it out there just for the output, just to throw their kick.
You're right, but you have to be a little bit insane, like Justin Gaethje. You have to have a chin like Gaethje to throw like naked leg kicks in the pocket.
That's what I'm saying. Like Gaethje don't set up his leg kicks. That nigga just throw it out there, bro. Like he don't set up nothing, bro.
But
it's so
he has good wrestling defense too, so he's not afraid to throw. He's not afraid to.
And it's the same thing with Aldo as well. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, so they're able to commit to those low kicks because not just they take down demons, but also the ability to scramble and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And but to be fair, our Gaethje's low kicks were very different because they were calf kicks in the pocket. So he would throw them at a weird angle where the fighter would kind of like not see them coming, and you wouldn't be able to check them. But at the same time, he would throw them in back in the day before he switched up his mindset, he would throw them, while leaving himself open, with getting countered. And if you look at his first fight with Dustin Poirier, that's literally what cost him the fight, because he was just slamming those leg kicks. They were working because apparently, Dustin said that he tore his quad, so it did do damage. But but the fact that he wasn't able to set it up cost him the fight, which is why I believe what stopped Aldo from landing those kicks, was stop having success with those leg kicks, in the middle of his career.
Yeah,
So,
agree.
Yeah,
man. We've been going on for what, almost 3 hours. This was a great episode, ladies and gentlemen, man. Great conclusion of our MMA podcast, man. Shout out to my guy Sandman. Shout out to my guy Sneef. Pull up. Don't forget, bro. Every Tuesday we're live around 7:30, cooking up on these MMA news and fights as well. And it's a great episode, great back and forth, great debate. Next week we have 2 shows. We're gonna do our normal Tuesday show, and then we will be live for the fight, the big fight of the summer between Yair Rodriguez and Volkanovski, man, pound for pound best fighter in the world. And hey, said, man, I hope you can join us back, man. I love your knowledge to the game, man. You hear me? So I'll hit you up, you know what I'm saying? But
Awesome,
we will be back, man. Salute Sneed, bro. I hope you can come back. You know what I'm saying? Even though you got cooked a little bit, I hope you come back. You know what I'm saying? But make sure y'all smash the like button, man. We will be live next Tuesday, and we will be live for the fight Saturday. Come pull up on us. Come check this out, man. I'll holler at y'all, bro. It's your more.
Another tea cook.
Salute.
It was a pleasure